Hello everyone, welcome to this complete HTML course. If you are just starting your web development journey, this video is all you need to learn HTML from scratch. So guys, if you are visiting the channel for the first time, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We will be beginning with very basics like writing your first HTML page, understanding what are tags, attributes, forms, media, semantic elements and accessibility in HTML. Then step by step we will be moving towards building a real project which will be a simple resume website, or you can say a portfolio website. And finally, I will be showcasing you how can you host your websites online for free using GitHub pages. By the end of this video, you will not only understand HTML but also be confident enough to create your own websites and showcase them. So grab your laptops and follow along, and let's get started learning HTML together. So first of all, let us understand what we are going to cover in today's video. This is an introduction video to HTML. In this, we will cover what is HTML. Then we will see why HTML is actually needed or why it is used. Then we will see the structure of an HTML page, and finally the tools that we need to get started for our upcoming videos. So guys, first of all, let us understand what is HTML. So guys, the full form of HTML is Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, and it is the standard language used to create web pages. Think of it as a skeleton of every website that you visit. Okay, and this is how your HTML code looks like. So guys, if you are new to the HTML, don't worry about this code as of now. We will be seeing everything one by one, step by step in detail in the upcoming videos. Okay, now basically this code, what it is telling to our browser is that display the text hello world on my screen and make it as a big heading, which is H1 heading. In the same way, HTML is basically used to give different type of structures to our text on the screen. Now, what is the need of HTML? Why can't we just write the text normally and this can display it on the screen? So guys, HTML basically provides structure to our code, okay, to our code or content, you can say. It tells the browser what is a heading, what is a paragraph, where to place images, forms and links. Without HTML, if you write anything, okay, it will be just plain text, okay, and you will just see only paragraph or just basic text on the screen. But when you visit any website, for example, let me take you on this page only. Here, if you are seeing, this is a larger text, whereas this is a smaller text, right? And this is a link. So why all of this is happening? Because in the HTML, we are defining the structures that this needs to be a H1 heading, then this needs to be a normal text, right? Paragraph text or something, or a small text. In this way, it is very easy for us to, for the end user to visualize on the screen. So that is why HTML is very important, because it provides a structure to our code. So without HTML, it will be just equivalent to just plain text. And with HTML, it gives a structured layout. Now, when I say layout, how does the layout of HTML looks like? So the basic structure of HTML page looks something like this. And for now, you don't have to worry about this code. In our next video, we are going to dive deep into this code, and you don't even have to remember this code. I will be telling you a trick like how you can get this code easily. So first of all, let us understand what this code is. See guys, here what is happening is, first of all, we are writing doc type HTML. Okay. Now what this does is, it tells the code or the browser that we are writing a HTML5 code. Okay. Now this HTML tag, okay, is basically our root element, we can say. It is starting from here and ending from here. Now whatever the HTML code that we are going to write will reside all inside this element itself. Okay. Then we have a head. Head is basically used for titles. Okay, titles as in when I will go to a browser, when I will hover over it, here you can see the humble coder YouTube, right? So this is only what is called as the title of a website. Okay, now inside my body I am writing my basic text, which is hello world, and this is my first HTML page. We are even going to write this code even in our next video, so you will get better understanding of this. And guys, how this code is getting interpreted by the browser is displayed in this image over here. So everything that is getting displayed on the screen is HTML, and on the top is the title. Okay, I showed you where the title basically displays, and then in the body is basically where our entire screen is. So everything here that we are seeing on the screen is body, but here when I hover over it, the text which is showing is the title of my website. Now guys, I hope you have now understood. Now moving on, what are the tools that we will need in order to learn HTML? Okay, so guys, we will just need two things. Okay, one code editor, any code editor you can select of your choice, but I will be using VS Code because I feel that it is pretty versatile and we can easily do our coding in VS Code. But if you have any other choice, feel free to use so. And if you are starting new and if you are not sure, feel free to use VS Code. Now for those of you who don't have VS Code as of now, what you need to do is, you need to go to a browser, you need to write download VS Code, okay, and then you need to hit enter. The first link that will show from there you can download your VS Code. So you will be redirected to this site. Here you will see different operating systems. For example, if you are on Windows, so you have to just click on Windows and the file will get downloaded for you. Okay, once the file is downloaded, you just have to start installing it, and the installation steps are pretty basic. You just have to click next and then finish. Once the VS Code is set up, I will see you next video where I will be telling you how you can get started with your first program. Okay, and then we will be using web browser. In our case, we are going to use Chrome, but you can use any other web browser also. Okay, and basically what is the need of web browser? Whatever the code that we are going to write in our code editor, the output of it that we will be displaying in our web browser. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to write our first HTML code and I'm super excited about it. So guys, first of all, let us understand what we are going to cover in this video. Then we will be taking one by one each topic. First of all, what we are going to do is we are going to write the first hello world program in HTML. Then we are going to understand what is exactly boilerplate code. Then we are going to see the shortcut for boilerplate code in VS Code so that you don't have to remember that exact code every time. Then we are going to set up and use live server, which will make our life very easy. And then at the end we will be seeing inspect tool in browser, writing the first hello world in HTML. Now guys, before we directly jump into the code, I will be writing this code by myself first of all, and I will be explaining you what exactly this part is doing in the code, and then we will be seeing the shortcut to write this every time. So what I will be doing is I will be going to my desktop and I will create a new folder here. Okay, in this new folder I will name it as HTML tutorial, something like that. Okay, and what I will do is, as I told you in the last video, you must have set up your VS Codes. So we will be opening this folder in VS Code. So we will just do the right click and we will get the option as open with code. Okay, I will just show you once again if you have not noticed. So if you go here, when you right click on it, for some of you it might show in the first page itself, here itself. If it does not show, you have to click on show more options and then open with code. Okay, once you do that, your VS Code will launch and then you can see that folder over here. Okay, so this is the folder name, that is HTML tutorial. Currently I don't have any files in HTML tutorial folder. That is why it is not showing, or it is showing it as empty. What I will do is, as of now, is I will create a new file called as index.html. Okay, and I will be writing my first HTML code inside this file only. So now let's start writing the structure code. Okay, now in the structure code, first thing is doc type HTML. And how do we write that? So we write doc type HTML in this way. Okay, what does it do? Basically, I told you in the last video also that it basically tells that the code that we are writing is HTML5 code. Okay, now the next tag that we use is, and guys, all this terminology, that is tags, elements, which I am using now, we will be seeing detailed in a separate upcoming video, so don't worry about it. So this is the tag. Okay, HTML tag I am using here, and then whatever our HTML code is will be going inside this HTML tag. Okay, now there are two important things. First is the head and second is the body. Okay, so first comes the head and then comes the body, right? As a normal human body also, you can understand, first the head is there, then the body is there, and always inside the head goes your title. And what is the title? I showed you in the last video. Whenever you hover over the title of any web page, this text that it is showing is your title. Okay, now let's write the basic title for our website. Okay, maybe like my first website. Okay, and then let me write some body code. Okay, code in the body. Now as of now I am writing a h1, which means a heading. Okay, and the largest heading that we have, and here I will write some basic text which will say like hello world, and I am saving this file. Now in order to see the output or the display, what we can do is we can right click on this file name and then we will get some options here. I will click on the option as copy path. Okay, as soon as I copy path, my path is copied for this file. Now what I will be doing is I will be going to my web browser and I will be pasting this path. As soon as I paste and hit enter, you can see my output is getting shown. So here in my file I have written hello world as a h1, which means it is a large heading, and the text is getting displayed. And you also remember I have also written my first website as the title, which is getting displayed when I am hovering over it or on the title. So in this way we have ran successfully our first HTML program. Now some important things. See, as I told you that this time we have written it by ourselves. So it's not like every time you have to write this boilerplate code by yourself, because you know it is not. I will teach you all the things in such a way that you don't have to remember anything. Basically you should know the meaning of each and everything, but you do not have to, like, remember it. So I will just now again remove everything, and I will be telling you the shortcut to write this boilerplate code. And guys, by the way, this code is only called as boilerplate code because this is the structure code for our website. Okay. Now, how can we get the boilerplate code? So if you are writing code in any code editor, most of the code editor, because we are writing in VS Code, the shortcut is shift and 1, which means when you write exclamation in your this one keyboard, it will give you this one. Okay, and when I hit enter, you can see my boilerplate code is automatically generated. Now there are some other things which might come with your code, but you don't have to pay attention to it as of now. As we progress further in the tutorials, we will understand what these things are. Okay, basically these are called as attributes, meta tags and all. We will be understanding them one by one. So for now, I will again write my h1 hello world. Okay, and then I will also write the humble coder so that you understand that this is another time that we are displaying it. And I will also add my title. See, this time my title is documents. As soon as I save it, and again if I go to my file, I need to refresh it. Okay, just notice that it is not automatically refreshed. When I click on refresh button, my title is changed to document and my text is also updated. Now guys, one thing that you have noticed is that whenever we did the change, we have to come here manually do the refresh or reload, then only my updates will be showcasing. Okay, and like when you are creating a continuous website, it might be taking a lot of extra energy, right, to come here and do the refresh button every time. So is there a easy way for this? Yes, there is. Okay, and that is what our third topic is, that is short. We have already covered what is boilerplate code and the shortcut for boilerplate code in VS Code. Now the fourth topic, which is setting up and using live server. So what exactly is live server? Let me show you. So if you are using VS Code, here in the extensions button, this is the buttons for extensions. When you click on it, you can search for extension called as live server. Okay, so when you search for it, it will come on the top only. See this one. Okay, live server by Ritwik Day. Okay, what you need to do is you need to install it. For me, it is already installed, so that is why I'm seeing the button as uninstall, but you need to install it. Okay, once you install this, maybe if required, just close your VS Code and start it again. Okay, and once you have installed it, you will see this button go live at the bottom of your VS Code. Okay, I hope you can see. When you click on this, what will happen is your live server is started. Okay, now what is this live server? Basically, you can see this is a port basically which it gives to us, which is 5500, and our index.html file is getting displayed on the screen. Okay, and everything that we have written in that file is getting displayed. Now what is the important usage of it? Okay, you might think that okay, it is fine, like we were doing the same thing previously also. So let me show you again. If I will remove this text, okay, and I will just write good morning. Basically, I'm just doing one simple change and I'm saving it. Now just notice that when I will go into that file, I do not have to separately do the reload. See, it is automatically updated. Okay, it has automatically taken my changes. And to see things more clear or better, what you can do is you can put this screen here and your coding screen on this side, and let's try doing the change. I will now remove the text good morning and I will just put a full stop. As soon as I save this change, just notice how fastly or quickly it is changed in real time. We don't have to like save it. We don't have to like come here and refresh it. As soon as you save your file, the changes will be updated in the browser. So I hope you understood what is live server and what is the usage of it. We will be using live server throughout this tutorials. Okay. So guys, we have covered almost all the topics. Like we have written our first hello world program, boilerplate code we have understood. We have also understood what is the shortcut to write boilerplate code, and we have also set up the live server. Now one important thing, which is inspect tool in our browser. What is actually an inspect tool? Okay, so I will be taking you again to one of the websites. Like for example, let's go to amazon.com and I will show you that how big or small a website it is at the end of the day using HTML to display the structure on the screen. See guys, here if you go on the top of it, so what did I do to open the inspect tool? So I did the right click, and then in the bottom I'm getting one option as inspect. When I clicked on it, this element section is open for me, and then here you can see doc type HTML is showing. Then the HTML tag that we have added. Then you can see the head, then body, right? So whatever we have written on the page is all staying inside the body. So we can even close it from here, right? So this inspect tool is very much helpful when you do the code. Okay, and you can even see, I will show you that inside the head I will find somewhere the title. Okay, the title for this website. See, can you see title amazon.com, spend less, smile more, and when I hover over it, this is the same title that is getting displayed here. And the best fun part of inspect tool is that you can even change it. Okay, like if I'll do hello world, you can see I have updated it here, and in the website also it is updated. But guys, just understand this, that this is the update only for your browser and not on the actual website. Okay, this is like as soon as you refresh the page, the original changes will come back. Okay, but yeah, it is a very good tool basically to debug and to understand few things. You can basically go to any website, you can understand few things. Okay, hi guys, welcome back. So guys, before we proceed further in our tutorial series, I just wanted to tell you that how can you access the codes that we are doing in the videos. Okay, for example, if you want to see the code that we have done in our tutorial 2, which was writing our first HTML tutorial, what you need to do, you need to open this video. When you will open this video, in the description box you will find some helpful links. Okay, like our complete HTML playlist link, then the code link. You have to click on this code link. When you click on this code link, you will be redirected to my GitHub repository. Okay, and here exactly you can see the code that we have written in that exact video. Okay, and that is how you can access. Guys, it will be very helpful when you will yourself code it, and if you have any doubts, you can come to this link and then you can verify the code that you have written is correct or not, or you can understand if you are getting any error, then at exactly what place you are getting the error. You can basically compare your code with this one. Okay, so this was the important thing, that how can you access the code. Now one more important thing is, like if you will click on this, hey Rahul my name, you will be going to the home page of my repository. You can even follow me. Okay, just in case if you want to see further coding tutorials from my channel and you want to access any codes, you can come to the repository section. Currently we are running this HTML tutorial repository. Okay, so if you want to see any other file that we are doing in this tutorials, so you can go to this repository, and then here you will find other files also which we will be creating in the upcoming videos. And from here also you can see the commit section. Basically when you will be clicking on this commit, you can see the tutorial name, and then complete meaningful name will be written over here. You can click on that particular commit, and then again you can see the same link. So I also explained you how to navigate amongst the repository. So just in case if you want to see anything else apart from the code that we have written in that video, you can do that also. Hi everyone, welcome back. In the last video we created our first HTML page and understood the basic structure. Now it is time to go deeper and understand the basic terminologies before we start understanding different tags and elements. So in this video what we are going to cover is, what is a tag, what is an element, what are HTML attributes. Then we are going to talk about some of the important topics like self-closing tags, and then I will be showing you real-time examples with inspect tools. Now guys, understanding these terminologies is very important. Otherwise, if you will directly jump on to understand what is a what is a heading tag or what is a paragraph tag, you might not even understand the meaning of the word tags and elements. So I thought let's cover this in a separate video first of all, and then one by one we will be taking different elements. Okay, let's go to our code editor now, and let's start with the first topic, that is what is a tag now actually. So first of all what I will be doing is I will be removing this code. Okay, or let me just first keep this code and let me run my live server. Okay, so that we can see the changes on the go when we will make it. Okay, and now I am opening my code here. Okay, so what I will be doing is I will write a first statement. Okay, instead of this I will write h1. Okay, and this will say this is the heading. Okay, now I will be explaining you what exactly is a tag. Okay, so basically a tag is the keyword that is inside angle brackets, like a h1 over here. Okay, it basically tells the browser what type of content we have to show on the browser. Okay, like this h1 is telling that whatever the content that I am putting inside this angular bracket, inside this tag, make this as a h1 heading or a large heading. Okay, so basically a tag is nothing. Okay, but whatever you put inside your angular brackets is called a tag. Now tags also has different things. Now this is an opening tag. Okay, this is an opening tag. This is called an closing tag. Okay, how can you understand which is a closing tag? So any tag which has a slash in front of it is called as a closing tag. And guys, tags are case sensitive. Okay, because we have to follow lowercase convention. Just in case if you will write a capital H1, it might not work as expected. Okay, so this was only it about tags, that whatever we mentioned in between the angular brackets is called as a tag. Okay, and they are meaningful in nature. Basically it tells your code or basically tells your browser that what you have to display on screen. Now moving on to the second terminology, which is what is an element. Now with this example only we can understand this whole sentence. Okay, from this angular bracket starting to this angular bracket closing is a element. Okay, Basically an element is a complete set. That is your opening tag. Okay, this opening tag, I will write it here for you so that you will understand. Okay, so this was the opening tag, and then we had this thing which was the closing tag. Okay, and then the content, this is usually called as content that we have in between. Okay, like the sentence that we have here is the content. So all three combined, okay, all these three things combined is called as what? Is called as an element. Okay, and now I hope you understood what is a opening tag, what is a closing tag, and what is an element. Now guys, you might be wondering what I have done this, because of which the entire sentence has become green. So guys, this is a comment. How can you do that? So in order to write a comment, you just have to write, you just have to press control plus slash. Okay, so if I have to make this line as a comment, I will take my cursor here, I will write, I will click control plus comment. And in HTML, how do you comment a line? Basically, if you need to comment this line, okay, so I'll show you how you can do it. I'll just copy this line. So the perfect way is to first of all write an angular bracket, then this exclamation, 2 dashes, and then at the end just simple 2 dashes and close it. So this is a comment. Okay, I can write it like this. This is a comment. Okay, and even the same thing I can put it inside my comment only. Okay, so you got a new idea also that how you can write a comment. Okay, now let's move forward and let's understand a new terminology which is attributes. Okay, see, so far we have seen two things, that is what is a tag and what is an element. Now let us understand what is an attribute actually is. So if I will take you here, okay, see, we have different type of tags and elements that we will be seeing in next upcoming videos. Okay, for now let us understand that we have a anchor tag. Okay, there is a tag called as anchor tag. Now what is its use? Okay, so whatever I write here in between the anchor tag, like something like click me, okay, that text will be treated as a link, okay, on the screen. Okay, let me first of all uncomment this line, and this one I'll comment it. So on the screen we are seeing one text which is clickable. Okay, when as soon as I click on it, nothing is happening as of now. Why so? Because I have not put anything in between the href. Okay, basically href is an attribute over here. Okay, href is an attribute. Now what is an attribute? Attribute basically provides additional information about your element. They are always inside the opening tag. Okay, we always put the attributes inside the opening tag and we never put it inside the closing tag. And what this attributes does is basically they provide extra information about your element. Okay, like in this case the anchor tag is doing what? Anchor tag is making something clickable, but when we click on it, where it should redirect, okay, that will be told by this href, okay, which is an attribute. So let's see what we can do. For example, I'll copy my google.com. okay, I'll copy any of the random link. Okay, so I am copying this and I'm putting this here. Okay, so now going forward, what will happen is as soon as I save this file and when I click on this, it will redirect me to google.com. okay, so in this way, if I have put any other link also, it will redirect me to that link. So I hope you have understood what is an attribute now. Attribute is always put inside the opening tag, okay, and not in the closing tag, and it provides additional information to your element. Okay, and now guys, we have seen these types of tags where we have a opening tag and a closing tag, right? Now there are some different types of tags where you don't have separate opening and closing tag, where just one single tag can be enough. For example, if I want that after this text that I have written, there should be a line below it. Okay, so how can I do? There is a tag called as hr. Okay, and what is the use of this hr? That it will make a line. Okay, the full form of it is horizontal rule. As soon as I save it, you can see a line is coming on the screen. Okay, and if I write it like this also, it will work the same way. So these types of tags where we don't need two separate tags, an opening and a closing. See, this itself is a self closing tag. Okay, this is what this is called as. This is called as self closing tag. Okay, so basically we are not writing two different tags. This is a self closing tag, but in HTML5 we don't even need to write this slash also. If you write this also, then also it will work fine. Okay, so I'll just duplicate this line so that you get to know that you can write it in this way also. Okay, and saving it. So guys, this is a self closing tag. Okay, so guys, we have covered almost all the important terminologies. Let's get back to our slide and see See, first of all, we have understood what is a tag. In that, we have understood what is the opening tag, closing tag. Then we have understood an element. Element is a combination of an opening tag, your content, and your closing tag. Then HTML attributes we have understood. We have understood an example of href. Then we have understood what are self-closing tags. There are different types of self-closing tags that we will explore in the upcoming videos. And let's now see one real-time example with the inspect tool. So to understand this, what I will do is I will take you to the web browser and we will go to a website, like, we will go to Wikipedia, for example. Okay. So I will write HTML Wikipedia. So if you will go to Wikipedia and I will open this website, here you see there are a lot of links. Okay, let's understand how these links are getting displayed on the screen. And in the last video, I have shown you that we can do inspect tool and we can understand, we can see the HTML structure of anything, right? So if I have to see the HTML structure of any particular word or any particular paragraph, what I need to do, I need to click on this, okay, this arrow button, and then I need to see how the element, this web content text is written, okay, in HTML. See, here we are using an anchor tag because see, this is a anchor tag, okay, like this is basically a link. So we are using anchor tag, and inside that we are using href, right? That is what I showed you. In the same way, we have one more attribute which is called as title. Okay, so this is also providing some extra information, right, to your anchor tag. So in this way, different attributes you can use, okay, and when you will use image and all, then also you will understand that. See, for example, if I'll show you this image, see, this image has source, okay, source as the attribute. Then we have a lot of different attributes like width, height. Basically, width and height is telling what should be the width and height of this image, okay. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in today's video, we are going to see some important elements like heading, paragraph, and line breaks. So guys, before we directly dive deep into the code, let us understand what is the usage of these headings, paragraphs, and line breaks elements on our website. Okay. So what I will do is I will take you to one of the blog website or article website. Okay. So there is a website like BBC. When I will take you there, we'll go through an article. Okay. Basically, so I'll open this article over here. And if you see, there is a lot of content that is written on this page, right? So how this content is getting displayed, right? This is a very large heading. So when I will inspect my tool, I will open my inspect tool, and here in the elements, I will see that this exact text is a large heading, which is H1 heading, you can see, right? So in this way, we will learn how can we write different types of headings and content in code. Whereas this code, if you see, this text is all a paragraph text, right? Because whenever we need to write a long paragraph, we make use of these paragraphs. And whenever we want to give this types of spacing in between paragraphs, how do we give that? That also we will see. So for that, what I will do is I will go to my code, okay, and now in this video what I will be doing is I will create a new file, okay. So I will name it as tut5.html, okay, and here we will be writing the entire code from scratch so that you will understand that how we will actually write it, because from last 2-3 videos we are not writing the boilerplate code. So what I will do is, first of all, I will write the boilerplate code for me. So when I write shift 1, it will give me an exclamation mark, and with that my boilerplate code will be generated. When I will save this, here first of all let me write a heading, okay. So I will write this is a H1 heading. This is a H1 heading, and what I will do is I will open this with the live server, okay. So when you will right click on it, you will get an option open with live server. Now what it will do is this will open your page with live server. Now guys, you have to understand that in HTML we have headings from H1 to H6, okay. Now what will be the difference? Okay, you might think or you might ask. So first of all, what I will do is I will hit Shift Alt and then down arrow to copy these lines 6 times, okay, and then we will change it one by one. So first of all, I will change this one to H2, okay. Rest I will comment as of now because I don't want to confuse you. So let's see the difference. So you can see the difference in size from H1 to H2, right? Let's see now H3. Now I will add all the remaining headings in one go, okay. So H3, then comes H4, then H5, and then H6. In a similar way, here also I'll add all the headings 4, 5, and then 6. Saving this file, let's see. See, you can see the difference, right? The size differences. So whenever you are writing anything on your website, you might have different requirements, okay. For example, this page only which I showcased you. So if we'll go one step back, okay, so you can see this is a H1 heading, whereas these are H2 headings, right? So you might have this requirement that at some places you might need a larger heading, so you can use H1 tag over there, whereas at other places if you need a smaller heading, you can use those types of headings. Now I will also name it meaningfully so that when you will read it later on, it will be meaningful for you. Okay, so H6. So see guys, this is a H1 heading, H2 heading, H3, H4, H5 and H6. Now we have understood what is a heading. Now let's move on to the second part, which is, now let us understand what is the use of paragraph or p tag. So first of all, how do we write a p tag? Okay, so in order to write a p tag, you have to write like this. Okay, and now you might have observed that even though when I just write p, it is giving me suggestions, right? How we are getting this? Basically in VS Code, we are having the extension emmet. Okay, basically VS Code is using emmet behind the scenes. Okay, so that is why it is giving automatic suggestions, which is very good for developers. Okay, because you don't have to write everything one by one in detail. But I would suggest you, if you are a beginner, that you try to write these tags by yourself completely. Okay, and don't rely on these extensions, because when you will write yourself, you will remember everything. Okay, so let's now write a paragraph. Now first of all, I will show you by writing some content by myself in the paragraph. Like this is a paragraph. Okay, and I want it to be a long one, so what I will do is I will maybe like just copy this twice or thrice maybe, so that the paragraph becomes very long, something like this. Saving it, and let's go to our website. So you can see the content is coming. Okay, now there are different things. Now when you are writing something, okay, and you don't see, whenever you have to write a long paragraph, you might not have so much of content, right? So you can use lorem. Okay, lorem basically gives you some by default populated content. Okay, see, lorem ipsum, some content will be populating. When you will save it, you can see. So in this way, when you have to write dummy content, you can use this. Now there is also important thing when you use lorem, like if you just want a paragraph with just 10 words in it, so you can do lorem 10 and hit enter. So when you will do this, you will only get a paragraph with 10 letters. Okay, not letters but words. So this will be helpful for you. Now let's get back, let's generate a bigger paragraph, and let's test something. Basically I want to show you one thing. Now if you see, we have a paragraph with 50 words in it. Okay, now I want that after this exclamation mark, okay, my next content should come from the next line. Okay, it should not be in continuation like this. So what you can do in this case, so see, you might have different options. First of all, let's see where is that exclamation is. So the exclamation is somewhere here. Okay, it is here. See, there is one more option that you can do, that you create a total separate paragraph tag only for this remaining content. Okay, so when you will cut this content and create a new paragraph tag and put the remaining content in the new paragraph tag, you might notice that it is coming on different lines. Okay, but what if I want to keep everything in the same paragraph tag and I want to achieve the same functionality? Okay, so how can we do that? So for that, we have a tag called as line break, which is which we can write using br. So when I write br and when I save, you can see now also it is coming on the next line. And you might have also noticed one more difference. Okay, I'll show you the difference between the previous case and this one. So I'll copy this entire thing, okay, and I'll put it here. Okay, and let's try to do this the way which I was doing previously, like by cutting down the content and putting it in a new paragraph tag. Okay, see, just notice the difference in the line. There is a lot of gap, okay, when you do it in this way, because you are telling that it is a whole new paragraph itself, whereas here you are saying that this is one paragraph, but the line is breaking and it is going to the next line. So this is the use of line break. So I hope now you have understood what are headings. We have headings from H1 to H6. Then what is a paragraph tag, and how can you use line break to show the tags on to show the content on different lines. Now guys, line break is a self-closing tag, and we have already studied in the previous video that for self-closing tags, you don't need to write separately opening and a closing tag. Okay, so we will be coming across a lot of tags which will be self-closing tag. Okay, hi guys, welcome back. So far we have learned a lot of concepts like different kinds of HTML tags and elements. Now in this video, we are going to revise everything in one single video. Basically, this video is going to be an exercise video where you need to achieve what I am displaying on the screen. So what you have to do is you have to write the HTML code and you have to achieve the similar result in your code. Okay, so before we directly jump on to the solution, I would highly recommend you that you do it by yourself and try to achieve this, and write it in the comment that have you achieved it successfully in one go or not. And if you are stuck anywhere, don't worry, you can directly watch the solution that I will be showcasing you in a minute now. So guys, let's see now how we are going to achieve this. Basically, let's understand what we are implementing while doing this. Okay, so see guys, we are using heading tags. Okay, these are all headings. Then we are using paragraph tags. These are paragraphs. Then we are using horizontal rule. Okay, this line that you are seeing here is a horizontal rule. Then we are using line breaks. Here you might see that there is a gap over here. So all of this we are doing just by completing one exercise. Okay, so let me go to my code editor. What I will do is I will create one file called as solution1.html. Okay, and then we are going to write the solution from scratch in this video, so that you will also get to know how you can do it. Okay, so first of all I will name it as solution1. Okay, saving it, and then first thing that we want to achieve is this heading. Okay, and this is a very large heading, so obviously we have to use a h1 tag. Okay, so the first tag that we are going to use is my blog website. Okay, and guys, one more important thing is whenever you are writing anything, make sure to write meaningful comment. This is also part of the exercise. I want everyone to write meaningful comments before this. Okay, because that is a good practice to do in your actual coding. Now let's open this website with a live server, and you can see we have the first heading over here. Now let us see what we want next. Okay, we want the next as a line, okay, which is a horizontal rule. And if you remember, I have already showed you in the previous video how can you add a horizontal rule using HR. So you can see we got a HR. Now what we want next? We want another heading which says my blog post 1. So let's add that. So you might have observed that this heading is a bit smaller, so I'm using a h2 tag for this one. Okay, so I'm going to write my blog post 1. Okay, I'm going to save it. Let's see if it is looking same. Yes, so far we are achieving good results. Now guys, before we move forward, what we will do is we will write meaningful comments so far what we have written. Okay, so first one I will write main heading. Okay, main heading, and then I need to comment it. Okay, so I will do it in this way. Here also I want to add a comment like heading for blog post 1. Okay, and then I will comment this. So guys, adding comments is very beneficial when you later on, suppose if you are writing this code now, and if you will come to this code 6 months later or few months later, then you might not understand everything in one go. See, this is a very pretty basic code that we are writing, so it might be easily understandable. But what if you are writing a very complex logic? So in those cases, you need to add this comments. So that is why we are practicing writing comments also as of now only. Okay, now next thing that we want is a paragraph. Okay, so let's first of all add a paragraph, then we will add a line break in between of that. Okay, so I'm writing a paragraph with dummy content which will be given to me by Lorem, and I will write a paragraph with 100 words. So I'm hitting enter, saving it. Let's see. Yes, so we have got a paragraph, but it is not looking like the one that we have in the exercise, right? See, in the exercise we had a line break after this one, so let's also add a line break. Okay, so where we exactly had the line break? Somewhere here. So see, for easiness, what I can do is I can just copy this, and I can even search anything. For example, if you want to search anything in your this one, you can do it in this way. Okay, maybe the text generated over there is different, so that is why I'm not getting this one, but yeah, we can add it anyway. Okay, so let me add it here. Okay, after this one, so I will add a line break in this way, saving it. Let's see if it is looking fine in our solution code. See, line break is coming, but still we don't have any gap. Okay, I want one line of gap also. So what I will do, I will add one more line break, so it will give one more line of gap also. See, one line break, what it does is it moves the text to next line, and one more line break, it gave me a empty line in between. Okay, so now this is looking similar to what I had previously. Now let's write the remaining thing. In remaining part, what we need is we want one more heading and one more paragraph. So I will go to my code editor, I will go here, and then I will write h2. Here I will write my blog post 2. Okay, saving it, and then I will write one more paragraph over here, which will be lorem, and then 100 words. Okay, saving it, and then I will also side by side add a comment also here itself, which will say heading for blog post 2. Okay, okay, saving it. Let's see if we have achieved the result. So guys, you might notice that we have achieved the similar result what we needed. Okay, so guys, now we have achieved the result. Now I want to tell you one important thing. Now if you see, I have intentionally not indented my file properly. What is meant by indentation? Okay, indentation means that if you see that everything is very clumsy and not very readable. Okay, so just in case if you are also facing this, what you can do is you can right click your document, and then you will get an option of format document. When you will click this, everything will be properly aligned. Okay, now if you see, everything is very properly aligned, and you can and like readability wise your code is very like looking beautiful. Okay, you can say that. See, first of all, proper comment is there and everything is starting from the same line, and when there is a text, there is proper indentation, which is one one spacing or two spacing inside. So in this way you can also format your document just with one click. So now saving it. See, formatting does not have any impact on the output. Okay, it's just that it is good for readability for coders itself. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in today's video we are going to see HTML links. Okay, so first of all, let's see what we are going to cover in this video. We will be seeing what is an anchor tag, basically how can we create links in HTML. We are going to see that. Then we are going to use the attribute href for internal and external links. I will be explaining you how can you redirect your link to an external website or to any other page of your own website. We will be seeing that thing. Then we will be seeing opening links in a new tab with an attribute called as target. And then we will be seeing some important attributes like mail to, tell, download attribute. So let's get started and let's move to our code editor. So as a first step, what I will be doing is I will be creating a new file which will be my tutorial 7. Okay, .html. So once this file is created, what I will do is I will write the basic boilerplate code and I will write here the title as links in HTML. Okay, let's save and run this with our live server. So I will right click and open this with live server, and you can see in the title my links in HTML text is updated. Okay, so let's now create the link first of all using the anchor tag. Now how do we write an anchor tag? So when you will just write a, you will get an automatic suggestion, okay, using emmet in your VS code basically. So when you hit enter, you will get the basic code for it. So see guys, here this anchor tag is basically responsible for giving or making your text as link. Okay, so whatever I write here, it will be like considered as a link. Okay, so first of all, let me write visit Google. Okay, so if I'll write this text, okay, so this will be considered as a link, okay, on my website. You can see when I click on this right now, nothing will happen because you can see in the href attribute, basically it is empty as of now. And I hope you are aware what is an attribute. Attribute basically provides additional functionality to your HTML tags. Okay, so now in href basically I have to mention the link where I want my link to be redirected. So I will mention the link as https www.google.com. okay, so when I click on it, it will redirect me to this particular link. So let's click on it now. So you can see it is redirecting me to the google.com. okay, so in this way you can use basic anchor tag. Now let us understand some important different things. Okay, so what I will do is I will keep this link as it is. Okay, and I will be pushing all the code to the GitHub repository. Guys, make sure to access the code from description box. Okay, so right now you have noticed that what was happening is when I was clicking on it, the link was opening in the same page. Okay, like it was not opening in a different page. And sometimes we have this requirement on our website that we want to keep this page as it is and we want the link to be opened in a new page. So how can we achieve that? So what I will do is I will copy the same line, okay, and I will paste it over here, and we have an attribute called as target. Okay, so target, you can see target, and then here in the target we have to mention it as underscore blank. See, it is giving the different options. So when we mention target equals to underscore blank, now let's save and I will write it more meaningfully. So open visit Google in new tab. Okay, saving it. Say when I will click on this link now, see it is opening the same link but in a new tab, right? So this is also helpful. So moving on to the next thing now, I will again add a line break. Okay, so the next thing is about email link. Okay, so just in case if you want to open an email, how can you do that? So anchor tag, okay, and let me add the text as send email. Okay, I will also showcase you how it is important. Sometimes it is very important. So here basically we have this thing as mail to, okay, and colon basically any email ID that we have, for example abc@gmail.com. okay, I'm just considering a dummy email ID. See, we got a link. Now when I will click on it, what is happening, just notice. See, it is opening my email box. Okay, I have not set any default email to as of now, so that is why it is giving me an option that you want to send an email from which email, like tool basically. So when I will click on this, it will by default put this email ID that we have mentioned here in the to section. Okay, basically it will consider that we are sending an email to this person and where it is important. So guys, you might have seen many websites where we have a contact page, And if someone from the end user side wants to send an email to us, we can use this functionality that we can write some text. Basically when they will click on it, automatically their email box will open and they can directly send the email to our email ID. They don't have to type this email ID manually in their email box. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing, which is phone number. Okay, so in the same way how we have did for email ID, we can even do for phone number also. Okay, so I will write the basic text as call us, and then here in the href we can use something like tel, which is for telephone, and then we can just give our cell number basically. So you can, if you mention this and save it, when you click on it, see right now we are in a web app, so it is not giving me much options. Basically it is giving me an option to open pick an app. Basically when you will open this link in your mobile app, what will happen is your dialer will open, dialer as in your mobile or contact dialer will open. Okay, so then you can contact that person and directly this number will be showcasing in your dialer. Next important link thing is when I will add a anchor name, anchor tag, and then here we can write a file. Okay, like for example about.html. okay, and here I can write about us page. Now what is the use case for this? Let me tell you. So for example, right now what we have seen in the first link was we were redirecting to an external website, right, which was google.com. Now what if I have multiple pages on my own website? So let me create one page, okay, which is about.html. okay, and let me write the basic HTML code in this file, and I will name it as about us. Okay, and here in the body section I will give the title a head, simple heading that this is a about us page. Saving this, and now when I will click on this about us, okay, see it is taking me to the about us page. So basically this is the redirection within our own website. Okay, we have multiple pages in our website, and if we want to link in this way, what we can do is we can have a common file where we can mention all our links, and when we will click on a particular link, it will open in a different page. Okay, and this is very important, guys. Like if you again same thing happens here over here is that if you want it to be open in a different page, you can add that attribute target blank. That is totally fine, and this will work absolutely fine. Okay, so when I will click on it now, it will, okay, I need to refresh maybe. See, now it is opening in a different page. So guys, I hope now you have understood different things. Let's see if we have covered everything. See, we have first of all see how can we create an anchor tag. Then we have seen how can we use href for internal and external links. For external link, I have shown you how can we redirect to google.com. For internal link, we have redirected to about.html page. Then we have seen opening links in a new tab using the attribute target equals to underscore blank. Then we have seen mail to, which is used for sending emails, tel which is for calling, and then there is one more important, which is download attribute. Let's see this one now. Okay, so what I will do is I will again add a break, okay, and then I will add an anchor tag over here, and then here what I will do is I want that particularly, let's suppose that we have a resume, okay, on our website which we want to get downloaded, which we want that it should get downloaded as soon as we click on this button which says download resume. Okay, and then as of now it won't work properly because see, this is nowhere we are telling that resume.pdf is a file or something, right? So there is an attribute called as download attribute. Okay, so as soon as you will add this download attribute, okay, and it does not need to have any value as such, guys. So let me show you. Basically, see, we have download resume button. As soon as I click on it, a file gets downloaded. Okay, but currently in a resume.html file does not exist in my website, so that is why nothing is getting downloaded. But if you somehow link it with database and if you are feeding this file somewhere on your website, then it will also get downloaded. But the major crux was to tell you that there is something like this download attribute which exists so that you can download your files. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in today's video we are going to see HTML images. How can we add them on our web pages? So let us first of all see what we are going to cover in today's video. We are going to see the img tag, okay, using which we are going to embed images on our web page. Then we are going to see src and alt attributes. Then we are going to control the image size using width and height attribute, and then finally we are going to see local versus online images. Okay, so in our code editor, what I will do is I will first of all create a new file which will be tutorial8.html. okay, so 8.html I have created. Now I will write the basic boilerplate code using this exclamation mark. Okay, now what I want is, first of all, I want to display one image on the screen. Okay, so let me rename the document as something like HTML images, and here I will write h1 tag HTML images. Okay, so some text will be displayed on the screen as of now. Let me open this page with live server. Okay, so we can see the initial text that we have written on the page and in the title. Now what I want is, after this heading I want to add an image. Now as I told you guys, there are some attributes which you need to know. First one is the source. Basically using source only you can display your images. Now there are two ways in which you can display your images. Either you can download an image from somewhere, okay, and then use it in your project folder. Like here what I have done, I have downloaded an image, okay, that is image.png, and I can use this image in the source, okay, like this. See, when I do dot slash, what does this means? Dot slash means that we have to look for the image in the same folder. Okay, so we are currently in the folder HTML tutorial, so it is looking for all the files here. So when I put image.png and then when I save this file, you can see the image is getting displayed. Right now the image is too large. Okay, so what I can do is I can resize it. Now there are different ways of resizing. For now we have different attributes like width and height. Okay, so if I use width and height, so for example for width I can give 200 pixel and height I can give 300 pixel. So this image will be resized accordingly. Okay, see, now the image is having the width of 200 pixels and height as 300 pixel. Now you must be thinking, what is the use of this alt? So guys, there is this alt has a lot of importance. Okay, first of all, this alt, basically what we should write in this alt is it means alternate text. Okay, basically, so I can write something like cartoon image. Now when this text will be basically displayed, because right now when you will go on the page, that text is not displaying. Basically this text will be displayed just in case if your image is not displaying properly due to some internet connection or some loading issues. Okay, so for now let's try to create an issue. I will rename the image to something else. Okay, so now I have renamed the image to image1. Now I don't have this image in my folder. Okay, I have the image with another name, so it will break. Okay, and when the image is not showing, it will show me the alternate text, okay, which we have given. So see, it is showing the alternate text which we have given. What is the another usage of alternate text? Another usage is just in case, you know, there are some people who are visually impaired or blind. So what they do is they make use of screen readers. Okay, instead of looking at the website visually, they use some screen readers which will read the, you know, whatever is written on the website for them. So when they use screen readers, the screen readers when come across these types of images, they will read this alternate text. So for them also it is very beneficial. So I hope you are now aware that what is the importance of alternate text. Okay, so guys, yeah, we have seen one way of, like, you know, adding an image, okay, which is via downloading and adding it to our project folder. Let's see the another way. Okay, for example, if I don't want to download any image, if the image exists on the internet, okay, let's do one thing. So, you know, there are different websites like, you know, unsplash.com. There is something called as Pixum. Okay, Pixum is also for, you know, images. Basically this is lorem ipsum for photos. We have seen lorem ipsum for text, right, in our previous videos. So this is for if you want some photos or images, you can use it from here. Okay, now first of all let me do one thing. I want to use this image maybe. Okay, what I will do is I will copy image, right click on it, I will copy image address. So this will give me the link of this image. Okay, and I will paste that link in the source folder, source place. Okay, and then this will, I will just say office setup, something like this. Okay, just meaningful alternate text I will give, and let's go to our page. See, the image is getting displayed, but the image is too big. Okay, first of all I'll add a line break so that both comes in next lines, and then I will give width and height again here same in the same way. Okay, so for now I will just copy the same width and height from above so that the image will be proper. Saving it, and you can see the image is now showing. So guys, now we have seen both the ways of adding images. First is via downloading the image, and second is via online images. Now let's see what we have covered in today's video. First of all, we have seen how to use img tag. We have understood the attributes like src and alt, what is the importance of them. Then we have seen how can we control the image size via HTML, and we have also seen how can we add local versus online images. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in today's video we are going to learn about HTML list. Basically in this video we will be covering different types of lists that we have in HTML. We will be seeing the syntax of UL, OL and LI, basically what are them. Then we will be seeing nested lists, like if you have to write a list inside another list. And then finally we will be seeing some real life examples of list. Okay, so let's head back to our VS Code now. And first of all, what I will be doing initially is I will be creating a new file which will be tutorial 9. Okay, so tut9.html is the file which I am going to create, and here we are going to add the boilerplate code by using this thing exclamation mark, and I will just write the title as HTML list. Okay, and the same thing I will be doing in the h1 also. Okay, in the body. Saving this one, and now I will run my code with live server. So see, so far we have this thing. Okay, now let's create different types of lists that we have. So guys, understand we have three types of lists. Okay, let me tell you three types of lists, but 90% of the time we use only two types of lists. So the three types of lists that we have is, first one is our ordered list. Okay, ordered list. Then second type of list that we have is unordered list, and the third types of list that we have is descriptive list. Okay, description list, you can say. Okay, so now first of all let me comment this part, and guys, you can access all the code once the if you can check the description box. I will leave the links for the code that I'm writing in this video, okay, over there. Now first of all we will be creating ordered list. Okay, so in order to use or create ordered list, you have to use OL tag. Now OL itself stands for ordered list. So when I write OL and hit enter, so in this way I will get OL tags. Okay, one opening and one closing. Now inside OL tags we need to use something called as LI, which stands for list items. Okay, so see guys, I have one OL tag which tells that this is an ordered list. Okay, and these are the individual list items. So for example, for now let me write three list items, okay, into my list. So then we will see how the list is looking. So I will write something like this. Okay, item 1, okay, and then item 2, and then item 3. Okay, saving this, and you can see my list is looking something like this, where we have three items in the list. And the most important part is the numbering you have to notice. Okay, so by default ordered list will have numbers. Okay, just in case if you want that, I don't want these numbers, instead of this I want alphabets. Okay, like A B C D. So what you can do is, you have an attribute, okay, which is type, and then you can mention, see, in type you can put different values. So I want that instead of 1 2 3 4 I should get A B C D, and in small letter. Instead of this, if you want it in capital letters, so you can just mention capital A, right? So these are different types of lists you can create. And now if you want the ordered list to be start with Roman numbers, so you can write I, so then it will be Roman numbers. Capital Roman numbers, you have to put capital I. So in this way we have an important attribute which is type. Okay, and the major importance of ordered list is that only that you have a particular ordering of elements. Now let me create another list which is unordered list. Okay, now so in this list what we were getting was, like, the list items were in sequence and properly itemed, like digits were there by default. Now in unordered list, again we can create this in this way. The only difference is we have UL as the tag. Okay, UL stands for unordered list, and then list items we can mention similar in the same way. When I will save this, you can see there are three list items that I got, and they are all starting with bullets. Okay, so this is an unordered list because the list does not have any ordered. Okay, they are just simple bullets which is telling that this is a list, but there is no particular sequence. Okay, when you don't have to follow any particular sequence, you can use these types of unordered list. Now unordered list also, you can change the by default behavior of this unordered list, like how we did for the our ordered list. For example, if you don't want this black dots or bullets in front of the list, then what you can do, so here you can write inline styling. We will learn more about it when we will learn CSS, but for now, just in case if you don't want those, so you have to use this property list style type, and then it has different values you can see over here. So if you select it as none and save it, you can see the list, the bullets are gone. In place of none, if you put something like circle, okay, so these bullets will be changed to circles. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is ordered list and what is unordered list and when it is used. Now let's see the third type of list. And I was saying, right, there are three types of list, which is ordered, unordered, and description list. So guys, just remember that ordered and unordered lists are the ones which you will be using 90 to 95% of the times, and you very rarely use description list. Okay, but still we will see how can we write description list. For that, the tag is DL, and then in DL we have different things. Okay, like there is one thing which is DT, which stands for description title or description tag, you can say, and then DD stands for description definition. So let's try to add something. So if I write HTML, and in the description definition I can write like full form of HTML, which is hyper text markup language. So this is how my description list is going to look like. Okay, and you can have again the similar way multiple entries in this way. Okay, so for now I'm just duplicating it, so we will get multiple entries in this list also. Okay, so this is description list, but as I already said, this is very rarely used, we don't use it much. Now let's see some real life examples. Like you might be thinking, if you are very new to HTML, you might be thinking, why are we even creating this list? What is its usage? Okay, so let me try to show you. Say for example, if you have a shopping list, okay, which you want to display it as your list. So in that case, what you can do, you can create an unordered list. Okay, like this is your grocery list, okay, which you want to get it from the market, and there is no particular order, right? In this case, you have a list which you want to fulfill somehow, you want to do those shoppings, so you can have the things like milk, bread, okay, and then flour, something like that. Okay, and then when I save it, you can see I got this shopping list which is an unordered list. Let's see one more real example of an ordered list, where what we have is like for example, you have a flowchart or any particular steps that you have to follow. Like for example, it's steps to make tea. Okay, so this is an example of what ordered list. So in this case, what you will do, ordered list, and then you will put the list item. So the first step you will write like boil water. Okay, and then in the same way you can add 3 to 4 different steps, right, like this. So second step is going to be add tea, right? And then next step, what it is going to be, like add milk, maybe if you are making a milk tea, add milk. And then next step, one more step we will do, and then our tea will be done. Okay, so strain and serve. Okay, saving it, you can see I got the steps to make a tea. And in this way it makes sense to have ordered list, because we are following a step-by-step procedure. So I hope now you have understood. Let's see if we have covered all the things in today's video or not. First of all, we have seen different types of lists in HTML. There are 3 types of list: ordered list, unordered list, and description list. And then we have understood the syntax of UL, which stands for unordered list, OL stands for ordered list, and LI, which stands for list items in a particular list. Then we have nested list. Okay, nested lists as such we have not seen so far. Now let me show you one example of nested lists also. Okay, for example, we have this example of unordered list. Okay, and I want to create one more list inside this. Okay, so I can do this way. Okay, so nested item 1, and in this way I have like 2 more items in this way. Okay, so how this list will look, let's see that. Okay, because sometimes when you are creating a web page or website, you can come across this scenario also. See, so this is level 1 list, and this is nested level 2 list. Okay, which means one more list we are creating inside another list, and we can create any number of levels in this way. For example, if I'll copy this, okay, and if I'll paste this inside this one, so one more level of list will be created. See, can you see this? So basically, yeah, this is only what is called as nested list. And we have also seen the real life examples, like your menu or shopping list, or different cases are there, which we have already seen. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in today's video we are going to see some HTML text formatting tags. Okay, so as a first step, I will create a new file which will be our tut10.html. okay, and then in this, as a first step, I will write one boilerplate code. Okay, so here I will name this file as text formatting. Okay, and I will write the same thing, okay, as a h1, as we always do. Okay, so I'm writing a h1 over here, enter, control V, and then I'll open this page with live server. So we can see the page over here which says text formatting. Now what is text formatting tags basically? So guys, whenever we write something in text on the screen, we might come across some situations that we need to style, or we need to show a particular text in a different way. So there are some default tags that we have in HTML using which we can format our text. So let's see them one by one. Okay, and it is important actually. So let's see. First of all, I will write one paragraph. Okay, and then we will see the tags that we are going to use. So I will write this. I will write a sentence. First of all, this is a bold text, and this is an emphasized text. Okay, basically I have written one sentence. Now I want to show that this text that I am writing, okay, should be bold. Okay, and this should also this should be like bold. I'll show you 2 different tags basically over here. So there is this bold tag that we have. Okay, and if I put something in between this, just see that the text is bold. Okay, just in case if you are not able to see, right? So this is bold text. Okay, now if I want to showcase this text as emphasized, what I need to do is there is a tag called as em. Okay, so I will take this and put it inside this one and save it. So you can see this is how emphasized look like. Okay, now there is one more. Let me copy this and write it in another line. There is something called as strong. Okay, so this is strong and I will write it as italic. Okay, and now I will change my tags also. So for strong, we have the tag name itself as strong. Okay, again opening and closing. Then we have one more which is italic I tag. Okay, let's save and see how does it display. See guys, on the screen you can see strong tags make the text bold and italic makes it in italic way. Okay, now you might be thinking that what is the difference between these two, right? Bold is also making the text bold and strong is also making it strong. So what is the difference? Why are we having two separate tags? So guys, understand, bold was the tag which was introduced earlier. Okay, and when we write a text as bold, it just means that look wise it is just changed. Okay, like the looking of it is changed. Okay, and semantically or meaningfully there is no change basically. But when we add any text inside a strong tag, then the HTML page, when it comes to SEO, what is SEO now? So when you, like, you know, when your site ranks, basically when you do a Google search, right? So your site shows up on the top or and all, right? We are going to have a separate video on semantic tags. Basically when you write a strong tag, it is meaningful. Okay, that this text has some important meaning, that is why it is bold enough. Okay, like it is made bold. Okay, whereas this one, it just showcased as a visual effect. Okay, and there is no meaning attached to it. So what you should do out of the two, you should always use strong. Okay, because previously bold was there, so we used to use bold, but now since we are strong, we should use this strong one. And same goes with the emphasized and italic one. Emphasized is the one that you should use. Okay, which is kind of newer. Okay, moving on to the next tag, which is underlined one. Okay, so I'll write a p tag again and I'll write this is an underlined text. Okay, saving it. And in order to show an underlined text, what is the tag that we can use? We can use a tag called as u tag. Okay, so whatever we put inside this u will be our underlined text. See, in this way, sometimes we have the need of it, right? But guys, most of these things that we are achieving like this, okay, can all be used or achieved by using CSS. Okay, and most of the time we do that only, like we don't write, you know, HTML tags for all these things, but it is equally important to know. Okay, so this is a highlighted text. Okay, now this is also important guys, just in case if you want that a particular text should be highlighted, for that what you should do, there is a tag called as mark. Okay, so if you put anything in between, that text will be highlighted. So if I put this, you can see this is highlighted in this way. Okay, but again, as I'm saying, all these things we achieve it usually by using CSS and not by these tags. Okay, but it is equally important to know sometimes from interview perspective also. Now there are few important tags, like I'll write all in one go. Okay, so this is, now there is a tag called as small, so I will write small. Okay, text, and then this is delete. Okay, we also have one tag called as delete, and then let's see this now. First of all, see, when I write small text, so the size of this text or the font size is a bit smaller than the regular text. When I write delete, okay, it means it will put a line stroke on it. Okay, so yeah, these are the usage of it. Now last two important tags, okay, that is subscript and superscript. Okay, so I'll explain you how. For example, if we want to write H2O, right, how we write in chemistry, right, H2O, so H is in what? H is in subscript, right? So if we have to do something like this, so I can write H and then there is a tag called as sub, and then I will put 2 in that and then O. Okay, let's see how does it works, and I will remove this extra spacing, saving it. So you can see it is working like this. Okay, so if you have to write any chemical equations or something in the subscript, you can use this sub tag. Okay, and then there is something called as superscript. So in order to show superscript, like, you know, if you want to show x square, so what you can do, x and then super. Okay, that's sub, and then you can show the square value which we have. Saving it will show x square. So guys, these are some of the important, like, you know, text formatting tags which are kind of mostly used, or even though we use in order to make use of all this text formatting. We use CSS most of the times, as I said, but it is equally important to know them from interview perspective also. So that is why I thought it will be better to cover this. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in the previous few videos, we have learned a lot of new concepts. So now is the correct time to practice all of those by doing an important exercise. So guys, in this exercise, we are going to create this kind of profile page, or you can say portfolio or resume page for us, in which we will be practicing all the concepts that we have learned so far in the previous videos. So guys, I would highly suggest you that instead of directly watching the solution, you should first of all try to code it yourself, and if you can't do it, then you can directly move on to the solution also. Now, how can you do it? If possible, try to have a look at this screen and try to code it without even having any instructions. But if you feel that it is tough for you, then I have also created one instructions exercise file. Okay, and here you will be finding the exact instructions, how you can write one particular line and what you need to do after every steps. So make sure to follow these instructions and create the page that is given here. Okay, and how you will get the exercise file, basically I will be leaving the link of it in the description box. Make sure to check from there. Okay, I will be leaving the code link in the description box, so you can click on that and access this exercise file. Okay, now let's move ahead and do the solution of it, and let's try to create this page by our own. Okay, so I'm now starting the solution. So first of all, I'll create a file called as solution2.html. okay, and let's follow the instructions step by step, okay, that we have over here. See, first of all, what is told is in instruction 1, what we are creating is a mini portfolio page. Okay, and the instruction 1 is to start with boilerplate code and then to add a profile picture. Let's try to achieve this much first of all. So I have first of all added a boilerplate code, and I'm going to add my first of all, I will name it also, the title also, as my profile. Okay, something like this, and then I will use the img tag to add the image. Now image, I need source. So you have two options: either you can download your profile picture from somewhere, or if you have it online somewhere, you can use that also. So I'm going to use from the online. So I'm just going to search the Humble Coder, and I will go to the images section, and I'm going to use this image, okay, that I have already. Now I'm going to copy this image, not image copy, but I'm going to copy image address. Okay, so I will go here and I will put that address in the source part. Now in the alt text, I will also give some alt text here, like profile picture. Okay, and now here we will be setting the initial width and height, okay, so that it has proper height and width. Let's save and run this page with live server to see if our changes are reflecting properly or not. So see guys, so far I have got this profile picture. Okay, let's move forward and let's create the page further. So we have already completed 2 instructions. Let's move forward with the instruction number 3 and 4. So first of all, we will create a main heading which will say our name, and then a subheading which will say our role, okay, like front-end developer or whatever. So let's create that. So for that, I will go to this file again, and I will create a new h1 tag which says my name, like the Humble Coder I will name it as. Okay, and in the next one I need one more subheading. Okay, now for subheading, I'm not going to use h1, I'm going to use h3, because I want to keep the subheading as a bit smaller, right? So that is why I'm going to use this one, and h3 I will put as my role, so front-end developer. Okay, let's save and see. So far we are having this thing. Okay, let's move to the further instructions and see what we need to achieve. Now we need to write a paragraph, and we need to write some bio of ours. Okay, bio, like, you know, some data about us. So what I will do is I'm going to copy this data, okay, to save time, but you should write and type it by all yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to write a paragraph tag, and then in this I'm going to write this. Okay, let's save and see how this is looking. See, everything is coming in one line. What I basically want is this should come in the separate lines. Okay, so what I can do is I can put some line breaks in between. Okay, line break over here and line break over here also. Saving it and seeing, see, it is looking good, but I also want one more line break over here so that it is properly readable. So I'm doing this one. Okay, so yeah, this is what I wanted, so I have achieved this one. Okay, now, you know, in between, if you feel that your document is getting clumsy, you can right click and do the format document to make it proper. Okay, so see, now the alignment is very proper, and it is looking good also. Let's move on to the next instructions, which is we now have to list our skills. Okay, and then we will add a blog link. So listing our skills, for that we are going to use the list. Okay, so I'm going to create an unordered list. So for unordered list, I'm going to create this UL, and then in that I'm going to create 3 LIs. Okay, so there is a shortcut way. So if I do li into 3, it will give me 3 li's in this way. Okay, now let me write the skills here. First of all, I am going to write HTML, and then I'm going to write CSS, which we are going to learn next, okay, in this series, and then JS, which stands for JavaScript. Now before I directly show this, okay, let me show this. First of all, it does not make sense, right, what these things are. So we need to write something like this, okay, that it is skills section. So for that, I'm also going to use h3. Okay, so skills in this way. As soon as I save and see, now it is looking proper. So I have this skills heading, and then we have 3 skills that we have mentioned in this. Okay, let's move on to the next instructions. Now is the time when we have to add a blog link. Okay, so how can we add the blog link? Let's see. First of all, we have to write a heading called as my blog, and then we can write something like check out my blog, and then click here. Okay, so let's see. So first of all, I will be giving a heading, okay, which will be h3 and my blog, and here I'm going to write one simple paragraph. First of all, so I am going to write something like check out my blog. Okay, and then what I can do is I can use an anchor tag over here, and in the anchor tag I can write here. Okay, so here this word here will be clickable. Okay, now what I can add it as a link, so you can add any link, okay, from the internet. So I'm just adding as of now the HTML Wikipedia page. I'm going to open this page, copy this link, put this in the href, saving it. And also one more thing I want is that whenever I click on the link should not open in my same page where my profile is there. I want it, the link should be opened in a new page. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the target as blank. So now let's see. Now I got this subheading which is my blog, and then I got this text which check out my blog, and when I click on this, you notice that the blog is opening in a new page. That is what we wanted, right? Moving on to the next section, which is adding a horizontal line, and after that we will write the about me section. Okay, so just add this thing, adding a horizontal line, and then we need to write about me section. So for that, I am going to write about me in this way, and then we need to add some text, right? So the text that we want to write here is this one. Okay, I love web development and always keep learning. Now the important point or the exercise that we want to achieve in this one is text formatting tags. Okay, so we have to use 2 text formatting tags, which is emphasize and strong. So the word love should be emphasized and the word learning should be strong. Okay, let's see this. First of all, I will copy this line. Okay, you can even type it by yourself, and I would highly recommend you to type everything. Don't rely on copy paste at this point of time, as you are very new. I will make this as emphasized one, and I will put the word love in between this em tags so that it will be emphasized. And then I want this learning to be bold. Okay, so for that, what I will do is I will use a tag called as strong, and then inside that I will put my this text which is learning. Okay, and let's put this here, saving it. So see guys, now it is looking properly. About me, I love web development and always keep learning. So guys, we have successfully created our profile page. Okay, and I hope you have found it helpful. And guys, last one is a optional section. Okay, you can write comments in this way, like this. Okay, like profile section at the top, something like this, like profile picture section. Then we have skills section. Okay, to make it meaningful. And guys, it is always a very good practice that we add comments at regular places, okay, where it is important. Okay, and then about me section, something like this. Okay, so guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Hello guys, so guys, in today's video we are going to see how can we create tables in HTML. So it is pretty straightforward and easy. So guys, you can see how a table looks like in HTML when we will create it on the screen. This will look something like this, and we are going to create the same table in HTML. Let's go to our code editor and let's create a new file called as tut12.html, and then here what I will do is I will write the boilerplate code, and then I will write in the title as HTML tables. Okay, saving it. Now in order to create a table, I will need a tag called as table. Okay, there is a tag table with the help of which we can create a table. Now in table there are 2 sections, if you will notice carefully. One is this heading part, right, which is in bold, and one remaining else which is in body part. So what we call this one as table heading, and then this one as table body. Okay, so there are 2 tags that we have, T head, which will be used for mentioning the headings, and then T body, which will be for the body part. Now let's create the heading part first of all. So in order to create the heading part, what I will do is I will create table row. Okay, it will have, see, heading has how many rows? It has one row, and in that two entries are there. So for two entries I am going to write TH, which stands for table heading. Okay, and then again one more TH, and here I am going to write the titles whichever I want in my table. So name and skill set I will mention. Okay, so name, and then here I will mention skill set. Let's open this page with live server and see how it is looking so far. So see guys, so far we have achieved this much. Okay, let's achieve more. So now in the body part also we want two lines. Okay, so for that I will write two table rows, first one and then one more. Okay, so this is now two rows we want. Now in the first row what we want two things. First is our name and then the skill set. So how can we write it? Now guys, notice here that here I will use the tag TD, which stands for table data, because if I will use TH, the title will be in bold or the text will be in bold. Okay, bold. I don't want the text to be in bold, so I am using TD, which stands for table data, and the first data I want it as Rahul, and then the next one I want it as the skill set, which is front end. Let's save and see. See, so far it is looking this much. Okay, let's create one more entry in the second table row that we have created. So here we will write table data, first one as Ram, and then one more table data which will have skill set as backend. Okay, saving it. See, now we have got the complete table, but you might notice that in the table which I showed you earlier, there was this boundaries. How can you put the boundaries, right? So if you want to put the boundaries, you have to go to the table tag, and then there is an attribute called as border, and if you will set it as 1, which means all the borders will show. So see guys, now the borders are showing perfectly, and now our table is created properly. So in this way you can add more, like for example, if you want one more column to be there, so what you will do is you will write TH and then roll number. Okay, roll number, saving it. So it will create one more column. Now two more entries in that. So what you can do, one more first data here as roll number 1, and then second data over here as roll number 2. So in this way you can create more columns also and more rows also. Okay, so guys, I hope you have understood how can you create tables. It is pretty straightforward. I will be leaving the link of this code in the description box, so make sure you code it yourself. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to understand about HTML forms. I will be creating this video in two parts. In the first part we will be understanding basics of HTML, and in the second part we will be understanding more things about HTML forms. Okay, now let us understand what we are going to cover in today's video. First of all, we are going to see what is a form in HTML. Then we are going to see some common form input types like text, email, password, etc. Then we will be seeing what are labels and placeholders, and finally we will be seeing actions and methods, okay, while using forms. So guys, let's see how does a form looks like first of all. So guys, this is what we are going to create in today's video. But before that, let's understand what is actually a form, okay, for those who are very new. So forms are used to collect user inputs. Okay, you have seen forms basically everywhere. Wherever you go, the login pages, your sign up pages, your contact pages, all are examples of forms only. Like when you go to Facebook or Instagram, the login page that you have, you enter your username, you enter your password. That is type of a form where you are entering your details and you are logging into your account, right? So now we are going to create this. For that, I am going to first of all go to my code editor. I am going to create a new file called as tute13.html, and then I am going to write the basic boilerplate code. Now what I am going to do is I am going to write a h1 which says HTML forms, okay, and then saving it. I am going to open this file with my live server, and I am going to open this file side by side so that you can see the changes actually when I am doing it. Okay, and also let me get this file so then we can have a reference that what we are going to build today. Okay, now we have everything set up. Let me make this screen a bit proper. Okay, so see guys, first of all, in order to create a form, we need a tag called as form tag. Okay, so see guys, now we have created a form, and now I will be telling you after some time what is the use of this action attribute. Okay, but for now let's create first input entry, okay, which is our username. We are going to create this type of form, username which has email, password, age. Okay, so first thing is we will need a tag called as label, and in the label I will write the text as username, okay, and saving it. So you can see the text username is getting displayed. Okay, now in order that the end user will enter the username, I will need a input tag. Okay, So I'm creating this one now. So now what end user will do, they will enter their name here, okay, like Rahul or whatever it is. Now there are some important tags that you should know. First thing is placeholder. Now if I write something like this, enter your name, okay, here, and save this file, see it shows it here. Now what is the usage of this placeholder? Placeholder basically tells the end user that what you should enter in this input field, okay. It makes their work easy. It is more understandable for them, okay. Now you might see that there is this for, okay. What is the usage of this for? So I'll show you in this one, okay. Now when I click on this username, you just notice that the input is getting enabled. Same goes with email, password, okay. So basically it is telling that this label is associated or related to this input, right? So if we also want something like that, what we need to do is we need to give some entry in the for. So I can give a name like name in the for, and then in order to relate it with the input, I need to give an ID, okay. And the same name which I have given for, I have to give in the ID section. Now when I will save this, just notice that when I click on username, the input is getting enabled, okay. So guys, we have created our first input, okay, which is for username. Let's now create the second one. Before that, I'll add 2 line breaks so that whatever we write will come on the next line, okay. Now the next one is for email, okay. So I'm writing email, and then here in the next one I'm going to write input, and this time the type of it I want to keep it as email, okay. And again, let me give a placeholder, enter your email, okay, saving it. Now just notice that when I will type an email, okay, this will basically understand that we are this input type is of the type, this input is of the type email, okay. Now the same thing we can give here. I can write email, and then ID also I can give it as email, okay. Enter your email, saving it, okay. Now the next thing that we are going to create is a password field, okay. So I can write label password, and then again the input for password, okay. Type I will give this time as password, and name I don't want as of now. I will be telling you the usage of name also, don't worry. So this for and ID should be same, so I'm giving the same, okay. And then let me copy and paste the placeholder. So this time the placeholder should say enter your password, saving it. And let me give line breaks also so that everything comes on the next line and it is visible properly. See guys, now everything is coming. We have 3 inputs already. First one was of type text, second is of type email, and third is of type password. And guys, notice that when I'm trying to type anything in the password field, it is automatically by default hiding it. And that is what the usage of this type, right? When we mention the type as password, it tells that the type, the data that you are entering is of password type, okay. Okay, let's create one more entry, and then we will finally add a submit button. So next entry is going to be for a number entry. So what can be a number? Age can be a number, right? So let me create one more entry for age, and then here I am going to create an input which will be of type number, okay, saving it. And then let me first of all give the for and IDs, okay, and ID over here will be this one. When I click on it, it is getting enabled. Now here we can give some more extra, let me give placeholder first of all, which will say age. Some extra things like minimum value of this should be 1 and maximum value of it should be 100, okay. Now what is this minimum and maximum value? So when I click on these, drop down not drop down, but these buttons, it will, the maximum value it will take me to will be 100, and the minimum it will take me to will be 1, okay. In the same way you can set any default, okay. If I want the maximum and minimum to be 1 to 10, then notice that I will not be allowed to go beyond 10, okay. So something like that you can create, and this is how you can create a number input field, okay. Now we have created all different types of input fields. Finally we will create a submit button which will basically submit the data that we have entered, okay. So how can we create a submit button? So if I'll write an input of type submit, it will consider that this is a submit button, okay. So guys, now you can see we have created a form which has username, email, password, age, okay. Let's see what we have covered so far and what is remaining. See, first of all, we have understood what is a form in HTML. Then we have seen some common form input types like our text type, which is of username, then email, password, age, which is of number, and then submit button. Now we have also seen what is the usage of labels. Basically, if we have to show any text, okay, for our input, we show it via labels. And we also have understood what is the usage of that, because labels basically tells the connection between your input and your text. And then we have also seen the placeholder text. Let us now understand what is this actions and methods. Okay, while we understand actions and methods, we will also cover this name, name attribute that we were seeing. See guys, if I put anything in the actions, okay, like my other file, okay, we have created so many files till now, right? So let me put this tutorial 12.html in my this one, okay, action. I'm saving this, and let me enter some data, okay, like I'll enter my name, and then I'll enter the email like abc@gmail.com, and then I'll add some password and then some age. Okay, when I click on submit, you just notice that it is redirecting me to the that file which I have entered it. Okay, this is the usage of actions basically. Okay, now there is a attribute called as method. Okay, I have written here actions and method, right? So if I'll write the method as get, we have different types of method basically. And what is the types of methods and what is the usage of method here? Okay, so two major types of method that we have is get and post. Basically what happens is that via form we connect front end and back end. Basically the data that you are entering here on the front end will be saved into your back end. So how it will be saved basically is there are different methods for that. So that is only what is get and post. So when I will see, now I have entered my data, let me also enter some password and then submit it. So I have entered this, and now just notice the URL. Okay, so let me go back and let me refresh it. Let me enter some data @gmail.com, entering the password, age, submit. Okay, now if you notice that this is how the URL is looking like, basically the data that we are submitting is getting submitted. Okay, but while we use get, we don't write, we don't submit the data this way. Basically we also provide one additional attribute called as name. Okay, so now the name of this, basically the name of a particular input. So first of all, the username is of type name, so I have given that, and then here email, any name you can give. Okay, basically it should be meaningful. Then here the name I can give it as password, and I will show you what it is used for, and name as age. Saving it. Now again I need to make the entries. Okay, so let me make meaningful entry only, and then some password and then some age. Okay, now when I click on submit, just notice that whatever the data that we have entered in our input or the form is displaying in the URL, and this is only what get method does. Okay, that when you send some data via get method, it goes via URL, whereas in the post it does not goes via URL. So instead of get, if I will use post, you will not see this in the URL. Okay, so basically this is only what is the usage of actions. Actions is basically when you click on the submit button, that another file or whatever the path that you have will get redirected to that, and method is basically for submitting the data. Now we will not dive deep into get and post because these are backend topics and we are covering front end. But guys, I hope now you have understood what is forms basically and different types of forms, and these are only the majorly used forms that you will be using in HTML. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, this is part 2 of our HTML forms. Now in this video we are going to see more types of inputs. Okay, in the previous video we have already seen few basic input types. In this we will be covering more of them. We are going to see radio buttons, checkboxes, drop downs, text areas, and then we are going to see some important attributes like required, disabled, and read only. So guys, let's first start by let me tell you what actually is a checkbox and what actually is a radio button for those who are very new and you don't know what is the usage of all of them. Okay, so let's start with the first one, which is radio buttons and checkboxes. So guys, we use radio buttons and it looks something like this. Okay, when we have to choose one out of the 2 or 3 different given options. Okay, like gender is one such thing, when we have to select out of 2 or 3 different options, we have to select one, right? So in that case we make use of radio box. The other thing is checkbox. Now when we have to select multiple entries at the same time out of the given options, then we make use of this checkbox. Okay, next thing is our drop down. So the actual use case of drop down can be this one, like country. If we have a lot of entries and we have to select as a part of drop down, we have to scroll, right? So we have to, like, see, country is also kind of a radio only, but if we put all the countries visible to the end user at once, it will be too overwhelming, right? So we keep it quite hidden at the initial level, so if when they click on it, all the countries will display and then they can select one out of it, right? Next is your like this text area. You can say text area is what, like when you have to write a long text, right? So in that case we make use of text area. Okay, next is we have like important attributes, as I told you, required and then disabled. Okay, and then what is one more, read only. Okay, so we will see all of this in today's video. So let's quickly go to our code editor and let me create a new file called as tutorial14.html. okay, now as a first step, what I will be doing is I will be adding a boilerplate code, and then I will be giving the title as forms part 2. okay, and I will also give one h1 which says forms part 2, saving it, running it with live server, and then we will see this much on the screen. Okay, as a first step, what I will do is I will create a form tag. Okay, I will use a form tag because whatever we will write in this only, and I also have to show you few values. For that I will keep the get method, I will keep the method as get as of now. Okay, saving it. Let's start with the first thing, which is radio buttons. For radio buttons, I first of all need a label which will say gender. Okay, and then see, we got this gender text over here, and then what I need is two types of radios. Okay, so first radio that I will put is, okay, let me do one thing. Let me keep this side by side so we can see the changes in real time. Okay, see, so we have gender. Now I want two radio buttons for this gender, right? So first of all, how to create a radio button? So in order to create a radio button, we use the tag input. Okay, and then instead of text we name it as radio. Okay, so when you do this, see, you got this radio button. Okay, now there are a few attributes that you need to attach. Before that, let us also give a label. So what this label is for, this label will tell that what exactly is this radio is for. So this radio is for male. Okay, gender. So now we have set it. Okay, now I want that when I click on this, see, when I click on this radio, it is getting enabled. I also want that when I click on this male text, also this should be enabled. Okay, so basically I want to create a relation between these two. Okay, so how can I do that? We have already done this in the previous input text, right? What I need to do is I need to put some value in the for. So I will write male, and then in my input also I need to give an ID. Okay, so here also I will write male, saving it, and I can remove this for, because I don't want any relation for this, like gender is a normal text that I want to keep. And then when I click on this male, you can see the input is getting radio input is getting enabled. Okay, in the same way I can create two more genders, right? So, and yeah, one more way of writing, if you want to create an input of type radio, you can write input colon and then radio in this way also. Okay, see, how am I doing it? And when you hit enter, VS Code automatically will give you the syntax. Okay, and then one more label I will be requiring, and then it will say female, and then let me create one more which will say others. Okay, now guys, so far we have done this much. When I click on female or other or male, everything is getting enabled. But I already told you, right, we use radio buttons when we have to select one out of the given options, right? And this does not make sense, right? How can you select multiple at the same time? So in order for that, what you need to do, you need to use your name attribute. Okay, and your name attribute should have the same value. Okay, so let's see that. So now what we can put, right, gender we can write. So the name that we can put in this one is gender, and even here I need to give one name, okay, to this radio also. Now when I click other, it is enabled. When I click female, see, the other is disabled and female is enabled. When I click male, so at a given point of time only one is getting enabled, which is good, that is what we are expecting, right? Now let me also create a button, okay, to show you something important. So the button is of type submit, and saving this button. See guys, now the important thing, let me give some line breaks also. There is one more attribute called as value. Okay, so I will also give value attribute to all these three. Okay, first of all, let me give the value, and it will be like male, and value over here, not in the label but in the input. Now why am I giving this value basically? Okay, so just notice that when I enable male and then when I click on submit, okay, I'll show you the full URL. You can see gender is equals to male is the data that is going, okay, to the backend or somewhere. So this is important. Okay, when you have to send any data, basically you have to use this value attributes. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which one was checkboxes. Let's create checkboxes now. Okay, so in order to create checkboxes, I will take the skill set example. So I will give the label first of all as a skill set. Okay, saving it. Okay, and then again adding line breaks so that the button goes down. Okay, so now in the label, what I want is, I want two checkboxes. Okay, for now, one is for HTML, another one is for CSS. So again, I can write something like this: input colon checkbox. Okay, so you can see one checkbox is created, and then let me first save it. So you can see the checkbox, and now I also need to give a label for this checkbox, right? Because it should be meaningful, right? What we have created this checkbox. So I will give the label as HTML, and again we will do the same thing. Like we will give the for and ID values. Okay, HTML, saving it. Okay, and here now I will create one more. Okay, so we got two checkboxes and both will run at the same time. Okay, now important thing, name. What should name be having? Name can say skill, and here also name can be skill. We can also have a value, because when we will click and send the data, what value will be passed? So for that, here also I add a value. Let's test this now. So I'll go to full screen. Just notice the URL as of now initially. Okay, see, URL has this. Now when I click on CSS and when I click on submit, the skill is showing as CSS. When I do HTML and submit, skill is showing as HTML. When I do both and submit, both the data is getting displayed in the URL. Okay, so now I hope you are getting clearly the idea of values. Okay, what is the value used for? Okay, moving on to the next one, which is our drop down. Okay, so let's create a drop down now. So in order to create a drop down, first of all, what we will do is we will take that example of countries, right? So the example of countries I'm going to take. Let me add line breaks first of all. Okay, let me give a label which says countries. Save. Okay, now this I need a drop down over here. So in order to create a drop down, we have a tag called as select. Okay, so when you use this tag select, it will, inside this you need to give different options that you want to keep in your drop down. Okay, so I want 3 options as of now. So I will create 3 options. I will use 3 option tags, and let me create one more. And then in the 3 values that I want to keep in the actions, in the options are HTML, CSS. Oh, sorry, it is country field, right? So I need to give country names. India, maybe like Sweden, and one more I can give USA. Okay, saving it. See, we already got the proper this drop down which says country, and you have the options of selecting different countries. Now you can fill the different, like, you know, these IDs and fors. So ID will be country, and the same goes in the for, so that when we click on this, saving it, when we click on this country, the drop down is getting enabled. Name you can give, name same you can give, country. Okay, so when you submit, it will come as country equals to whatever the country you have selected, and in value you can select complete name also, or you can select something like short forms of the countries. Let's use this and see if it is working or not. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Sweden, and then I'm going to click on submit. So notice that country is equals to SE, it is coming, right? That is why we have given the values in that way. Okay, so we have also seen drop downs. Now let us now move forward and see text area, which is next one. So for text area, I told you one of the good use cases to have your feedback section, right? So I'm going to write your feedback. So for text area, we don't use an input. Okay, we have a separate tag called as text area itself. Okay, so when I use this, so this is how my text area is going to look like. Again, I want my text area to be on the next line, so I'll add a line break like this. And then there are a few important things, right? First of all, this usual thing that we have, which is like this for and ID we will give, so that when I click on this text, this get enabled. Okay, now in the name, again the same thing, like when the data is getting sent, it will say that feedbacks is equals to whatever the thing that we are typing in the feedback section, saving it. Now see, we have this open and closing tag of text area. What if I type something between this? Okay, so that will be displayed as a kind of placeholder in this text area. Okay, so let me type that in. Okay, like enter your feedback here. Okay, when I type this, you can see this is getting displayed. Okay, and then if you want to increase the rows and columns, you can do that also. Like for example, we have the this one as sorry, not columns, but I want row. Saving it, see, it is getting increased, right? In this way, if you want to increase the columns also, you can do that. Okay, so now we have seen what the text area is. Now let's move forward and let's see these three important attributes that we have seen initially: required, disabled, and read only. Now in order to explain you this, what I will do is I will create three inputs. Okay, and let me add line breaks first of all, so everything comes on the next line. And I am creating three inputs using simple input into 3, and this will give me 3 inputs. Okay, just notice that by default the inputs that is created in VS Code, most of the text editors is of text. Okay, and we want text only. Okay, so just notice we got these 3 inputs, and what I want is I will add those attribute names. So this one is required, this one is disabled, and what is the third one? Read only. Okay, so let me make it as read only. Now in order to make you understand, let me give some placeholder values, otherwise it won't be clear what is what. So I will write this is mandatory or required, whatever you can say, and I will just copy this placeholder and just add the placeholder everywhere. Okay, see guys, we got these things. Now just notice one thing, that mandatory means you have to have some value in it. Okay, like when I click on submit, see, it won't let me submit my form because it says that this is a mandatory field and you have to somehow submit it. And these types of things are actually used in the actual forms, right? Because you might have seen that in some of the forms your first name is mandatory or your contact number is mandatory. So when you have to achieve that sort of thing, you can use this required attribute. What is disable now? When you want to show something, but you don't have to keep that input enabled as of now, so you can make it disabled using disabled attribute. So now you can see when I I am regularly clicking on this, okay, second input, but it is not getting enabled. Why so? Because this is disabled currently. And what is the third one? See, this is getting focused, but when I'm trying to write something, it is not getting written. Okay, so this is what is called as read only, when you have to show some just data which is read only. Okay, and you don't want the end user to modify it. So these 3 types of attributes are there, which is required, disabled, and read only. So guys, we have covered everything now related to forms. We have covered radio buttons, checkboxes, drop downs, text area, and these 3 attributes, and we have seen few more things in the previous video. Now what next? With this we have completed forms in HTML. Now I will be giving you an exercise in which we will be covering everything that we have learned so far in forms, and it will be good for us for practicing. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, from last few videos we have been learning forms in HTML and a lot of concepts on that. So I thought it will be a good idea to have a nice exercise on that, what we have learned so far. So guys, in today's video we are going to perform an exercise in which we are going to create one feedback form of ours. Okay, and it will contain few fields like our name, email, our gender, country, feedback, and then this terms and condition checkbox, and finally the submit button. In this form, few of the fields will be required or mandatory to fill, otherwise your form will not get submitted. And when we click on the submit button, it should redirect us to a new page which should say something like this: that's thanks for your feedback, your response has been submitted successfully. So guys, I first of all recommend you that without watching the solution, try to solve it or create it on your own, and if you can't do, make sure to watch the solution. Okay guys, I have created this exercise 3.txt for just in case if you need instructions how can you build your UI. So make sure to check the link in the description. You can see this exercise 3.txt. you can follow along this according to this file, and you will get to know how can you create one by one fields. Okay, now let's create the solution for it. For that I'm going to create a new file called as tute15.html. okay, in this we are going to write our solution code. So as a first step, what I will write is I will write my boilerplate code, and then I will write here title as feedback form, then again h1 which will say feedback form, saving it, and then I will run it with open with live server. Okay, let me open side by side so we can see the changes in real time. Okay, so as a first step, let's create a name field. Okay, so in order to create a name field, I will need to have a label which will say name. Okay, and then what I will do is I will have an input, okay, of type text. Now there are few things that I need to put, like ID, in order to make the relation between the name and the input. So I will give name in both the places. When I click on this name, it gets enabled. Okay. Next thing that we want to give is required. Okay, we have to make this as required so that it is a mandatory field. Okay. Then I will add 2 line breaks. Saving it. Let's create a new field which will say email. So again, I will create a label and it will say email. And then I'll create one input for email. And then I will give for an ID. So it will say email, and here also it will say email. Saving it. So far it is looking good. Now I am giving one name attribute also to this one, so that when we submit the data, it will be used for that purpose. So name for this previous one was name itself, right? Saving this much. And if you want, you can even add the placeholders, something like this. Enter your name. Now moving on to the next one. Before that, I'll make this one also as required. Okay. Saving it. Next field that we want to create is gender, which will be of type radio. Okay. So let me create first of all 2 line breaks, and then so let's create the next field which will be gender in our case. So what I will do is, first of all, I'll create a label which will say gender. I don't need for, so I'm removing it, and gender, saving it. Now I need to create 3 genders. For that, I'll create 3 inputs. Okay. And the types of the input should be radio buttons. Okay. So instead of text, I will remove text and put radio. So we got 3 radio buttons. Now I need 3 labels. Okay. First is for male, second is for female, and third is for other. Now let's add some important attributes. First of all, let's make the connection between input and label. For that, I will write in the input, I'll add a ID which will say male here, and then in the for section also I'll add male. So now what will happen when I click on this male text, this will get enabled. Okay. The same I will do for female and other also. So I have added ID and for all the 3. Now if you notice that when I'm clicking, all 3s are getting enabled at the same time. So in order to get rid of that, I will add a name attribute to all of them. So name for this one, and this will say gender, and this one I will add for all 3 of them. So now if you see, when I click female, and then when I try to click something else, only one is getting updated at a time. Okay. Now let's add one more attribute, which is value. Okay. So when we update the value, it will get updated in the URL, right? So value, I will add it as male, and in the other ones I will add it as female and other. So guys, we have successfully created this gender field. Okay. Now everything is working properly. Let's see what is the next field that we want to create. We need to create a drop down. Okay, which will be country type. Okay. So for that, I will create first of all 1 line break, and then we will move on to the next line. So I am adding the line breaks, and then we will create 1 label which will be country. Okay. Now I need a drop down over here. So for that, I will use select, and select will have different options. I will have 3 options for now. The first option should say India, then next one we will write Sweden, and then next one I will write USA. Let's update the attributes accordingly. So for here we will say country, and the same will go in the ID part also, and the name should be country, and the value should be the codes or like the full name of the country you can give. Okay. So I'm giving IN, SC, and then US. Saving this much. Okay. So now our drop down is also ready. Let's move on to the next type of field, which is feedback. So this is a type of text area. Let me add line breaks quickly, and then I'll create a label which should say feedback, and then I'll create a text area. Okay. Now again I'll add the for and ID. Saving this much, and I want the feedback box to be on the next line, so I'll add a line break. Okay. Now the feedback box is on like next line. What we want to add is few attributes to it. Okay. So the name should be like feedback, and then we can add rows and columns also. So maybe like rows, and I want 4 rows, and columns to be like 40 columns. This will increase the size of the feedback, this text area. Okay, and I can also write some basic text like enter your feedback here, dot dot dot, saved it. Okay, so this will be acting like a placeholder. Let's see what is the next that we want to create. We want a checkbox and this text, okay, to be displaying over here. For that, let me create a checkbox first of all. Let me give line breaks and then checkbox. So in order to create a checkbox, I will do input and then checkbox. Okay, after that I need a label which will say, I'll copy this text itself, I agree to the terms and conditions. Okay, now again id and for I'll give the things. Now finally we will create a button. We will create an input button. Type will be submit. Saving it. So we got a button. Okay, now the UI is completely ready. Now what we will do is we will first of all update that. As soon as I hit submit, this form should get submitted. Okay, and then the data should be like, data will not display, basically it is a backend part. What we will do, we will show another page which will say that your data is submitted successfully. Okay, before that I'll make this checkbox thing mandatory, because usually this checkbox thing is mandatory on a actual page. So in order to make it mandatory, I'll go to this input and make and add required. Okay, saving it. Now let's do one thing. We'll add method and actions, okay, to our form. Basically we have not added a form tag itself till now. So what I will do is, as a first step, I'll create a form tag. Okay, and then whatever we have written the code so far, I will put all of that inside this form tag. Okay, because see, when we are writing a form, it should be under a form tag, then only the submission and all will work properly. Okay, saving it, and let me even format it so it will look proper. Okay, let's see now. So we have got this form. Now in the actions, what I will write is, I will write a file called as submit.html. So till now this form does this file does not exist. We will create this file, and I will write the method as get as of now. Okay, so that we can even see the data in the URL. So let me first, as a first step, let me create this file which will be called as submit.html. So I have created this file, and let's add the basic code in this file. So yeah, let's try to run if it is working fine or is it breaking at some point. So first of all, I am adding my name, then I am going to add my email ID. Okay, then I am going to add the gender and then the country. Then I am going to write some feedback. Okay, something like very good, and then I'm going to accept the term, and then I'm going to click on save. As soon as I hit save, you can see, thanks for your feedback, the response has been submitted successfully. The submit.html page got updated, and in the title also you can see the thanks for feedback text. Now one thing to note, see, whatever the data that we have entered in our form, like name equals to Rahul, email is whatever we have entered, and then your gender, your country, feedback, everything is getting displayed. Okay, because we have set the method as get in our case. Okay, and even you can see the terms, the checkbox is on, so that's why the value is showing is on. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to see 4 important tags, that is id, class, div and span. Okay, so we will be seeing 2 important topics, that is what is the major difference between the id and class, and what is the role of div and span tags. So far in our series we have never used these tags, so let us understand these tags at this point of time, as these are very important when it comes to CSS styling. What we will be doing is, first of all, I'll create a new file called as tute16.html. okay, and then we will write the boilerplate code in this file, and we will just understand. I will write div tags, okay, something like that. And what I will do as a first step is, I will create a basic structure in the code. Okay, so I will add a h1 and then one paragraph and then one more heading and then one more paragraph. Why am I doing all of this? You will understand in a minute. Okay, because I want to show you what is the usage of these tags. Okay, like id and classes. Okay, first of all, we are understanding id and classes. So I will write this is heading 1. Okay, saving it. and we will write paragraph. Like, so for that I'm using lorem, which will give me some basic paragraph, and then again I will write another heading, okay, which will be, this is heading 2, and then one more paragraph lorem, and then 40, something like this. Okay, now I will open this page with live server. So you can see this is how our page looks so far now. So you have to understand that id, okay, first of all we were discussing id and class, so I will write id and class. Okay, id and classes are not tags, okay, these are attributes. Okay, id and class is an attribute, and if you remember, we have already used id in our, when we were learning forms. Okay, so if I will take you to that file, which was previous one, this file, here you see we are already using id, okay, that is name for this one, id email. Okay, and what was the purpose of using this id is basically to make the connection between the input tag and the labels, right? This was the purpose for which we were using IDs. But IDs are not just used for that purpose, it is used for multiple different purposes when you even have to style your, like, file or web page. Now what is styling? First of all, so basically your web page is looking like this, okay, as of now, but you might have seen different websites, right, where your web page, like the text on the website is of different color and all. Okay, if you have to achieve all of that, how can you do it? For that you have to use CSS, right? We will be discussing everything about CSS in a lot more detail in the upcoming videos, but for now let's understand how can we write CSS. Okay, so there are different ways of writing CSS. One of the ways is that we have to include this style tag just in the head section. Okay, so whatever we write inside this will be considered as our CSS. Okay, let's try writing this. First of all, what I will do is I will give a class attribute, okay, class name to this heading, and I will name it as something like, I want to give it a color name. Okay, so I'm naming it as color name. Okay, color name 1, something like this. Okay, this is, you can consider that I have given just some basic name, and these dashes on nothing are like, it is not a normal convention or something, okay, that you have to follow this convention only. You can give any name of your choice. Okay, so yeah, I'm just using this one. And how can I target this now? So in order to target, or basically in order to tell CSS that we are using the class, we have to use this dot. Okay, dot means that this is the class. Okay, and I have to give a particular color, which can be like, anything, like maybe a tomato is a color. Okay, so I'm just saving this and just seeing. So when I wrote this class, okay, on this one, and I'm writing a CSS and assigning a color to it, my color got updated for this heading. Okay, now what if I want the same color to be given to this heading 2 also? So I can just apply the same class to my heading 2, and the same color will be applied for this also. Okay, so you can see the same color is getting applied. So what we have understood from this, now classes is basically used in generally these types of scenarios. Okay, it is used to group multiple elements with the same styling or behavior, right? So like we have to achieve same styling on heading 1 and heading 2, so that is why we have achieved this. Okay, the other way of doing this could be, like, for example, if we have like 5 headings, okay, and we want to achieve the similar color on this, on all the same headings, so we can write something like this also. Okay, so using like heading tag also we can target it. It will also give us the same result. Okay, but what if I don't want to achieve this color on all the headings, I want to achieve it on a particular heading only, right, like on the first heading only? So in that case we have to use this class name. Okay, for example, if I have to achieve this color on first heading only, so I will not apply this class to this one, and I will just use as this one. Okay, so you can see my class is getting applied only on the first one. But you understood the major concept of class, right? That if you want to apply, now if I have this requirement that I have to apply the same color on first heading and second paragraph. Okay, so I will go to second paragraph, apply as this class. Now first heading and second paragraph both has the same color. So now we have understood what is classes. Now let's understand about IDs. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to give a ID first of all to this heading 2. Okay, and let me name it as heading 2 only. Again, you can give any name, and I want to target this ID. Okay, so how can you target ID? Basically I told you, right, using for classes we use dot. So in the same way for ID we use a hash. Okay, so now whatever I write inside this will be applicable to heading 2 ID. Okay, so I will write color again, and this time I will give some color, like, which one to give, this teal we will give. Okay, so let's see. So you can see this heading is now of teal color, and how we were targeting, we are targeting using ID. Okay, so basically you have to understand that ID is used to uniquely identify one element. Okay, now ID cannot be same. Okay, you cannot use the same ID on any other element. Okay, this will be illogical. Okay, and basically ID is not just used for styling, targeting the CSS and all. it is used for multiple other purposes also. One of the purpose we already seen that while creating forms we were using IDs. Even when we write JavaScript, there also we use IDs. Okay, so that is why ID has to be unique. You have to understand that. And for classes, you can use classes to style multiple different elements or tags. Now let's move on to the next section or the next part of our video, which is to understand what is the role of div and span tags. Okay, so in order to understand that, what I will do is I will take one of the codes from our previous videos only. So when we were doing exercise 2, we have created a profile page, right? So I'll show you how does our profile page used to look like. So this was the profile page that we created, right? Now I'm going to use this only to make you understand what is the role of divs and span. Okay, so what I will do is I will go to my code editor. I will copy all the code from this file, okay, which is my solution2.html. Whatever the code that I have written in that body in that video, I will copy all of this. Okay, I have copied all of this and now I will put it below this. So basically I'll add a line break and then I'll put all of this code, saving it, formatting the file, and let's go to our code editor and see, saving the file. See, this is what we have achieved now. Okay, now let us suppose we have this requirement that we have to divide this entire resume or profile into 3 different sections. One section is basically this much, okay, like your name, your profile, like your role and your introduction. Then second section is your skills and blogs, and third section is your about me. Okay, and you have to apply different background colors to these sections. How can you achieve that? Basically, as of now, we do not have any single container for all these things, right? So if I have to do something like that, div will be very helpful in that case. Okay, so what I will do is I will create a div tag, and then first container I will whatever I want to keep in my first container, I will move all of this inside my div. Now as of now, if you will go on the site, you will not see any difference. Okay, because div in itself does not provide any styling or like by default. See, but when I will inspect my code, you will see that one div will get added. Okay, here, see, this is the div. This is the div that we have just now added. Now what we will do is we will use this div to style our container. Okay, so I will name it as, give it a class name as container1, and use this class to give it a background color. So let me go here in my styles tag, and then I will give a background color. For background color, we have this background color property, and I will give a background color like this. So now you can see it is clearly identified that this is one separate container. Let's do this same for container 2 and container 3. Okay, so skills and my blocks will be in one container. So what I will do is I will go below, and where my skills and my block section is there, first of all I will cut it. Okay, Control X, and then I will create a new div, and then I will put my code inside this, and then I will give a class name to this one as container2. Okay, and then I will do the same thing for my third container also. So here I have created the div, and where it is ending, okay, so my blog, okay, so about me section, I want to create a third container. Okay, so I will cut this and then create a div. Okay, and then put this one, giving it a class name as container3. Okay, saving it, formatting the document. Now what we will do is we will give the background color to these classes container2 and container3. So I will go here, I will write the class as container2 and a background color. I will give a different background color so that it is clearly identifiable, and container3 also I will give a separate background color. Okay, so background color something like yellow green. Okay, saving it. So you can see clearly now we have 3 different sections, okay, which we have created using what? Using div. Okay, so basically the purpose of div is this only, that if you want to you can use it basically to create different layout sections. Okay, now what is the major use cases of div? So if on your website you want to create a header, right, you might have seen a header on your website which has different sections, your logo, your about me page, contact us page. So for that case you can use divs. If you have a separate sidebar like on YouTube only, okay, so this is a header. So if you want to achieve something in the header or separate sidebar, this is a sidebar, so you can use divs for that purpose. Okay, now let us understand what is a span tag. So for example, I have this introduction written, right? So here I want that my name should be, right now my name is in black color, right? I want that it should be in white color. So how can I display that? So right now there is no way, right? I have to enclose this in a separate tag, then I can, give a styling to that. So for that, what I will do is I will first of all cut this text and put it inside a span tag, and then now I will give a class name to this span tag. Okay, so I will give a name as name itself, and then I will use this class to give a color, maybe white color. Okay, so name class, and then I will give the color as white. Okay, so now if you see, now the color is changed to white, right? This color is changed to white. I can even give a background color, okay, so that it is clearly visible, like background color like blue. So you can see I have just styled, okay, it's not border color, background color. So now you can see in this way it is styled. I have just styled a particular word in a given paragraph. Okay, so wherever you have to achieve this type of inline styling of a given word or anything in between the text, okay, continuation of text, you can use this span tag. Now you might be thinking, why we have not achieved this using div? Why only span, right? We could have achieved this using div also. So to clear that doubt, what I will do is, now instead of span, I will try using a div. Okay, and let's see what happens. See, as soon as I use div, it came on the next line. Okay, why so? Because div is a type of block level tag. Okay, whatever you write inside a div will be considered as a separate container. So that is why it is putting it on our next line. That's why we cannot use div in this case. We can use a span tag. When you write a span tag, basically it will be considered as an inline tag. So the tag is added in the continuation of the current paragraph only. So guys, I hope now you have understood what is the difference between IDs and classes. IDs are unique and classes are used to give styling to the multiple different sections. Okay, in the same way, we have also understood what is div. Basically, if you have to write a code inside a container, you can put that inside a div, and span is for inline part. Now let's understand all of this with a real life analogy, so that all these things will fit in your head. Okay, let's understand that our web page is a house. Okay, in real life our web page is a house. Then what we can say, that what are divs? Divs can be considered as room inside that house, right? Rooms, or basically rooms inside a house are what? It is sections, right? Then span is what? Span is items inside your room. Okay, which is span is used for inline content. Whereas ID is what? ID is your room number, which is unique, right? So ID is also unique in nature. Then what are classes? Classes, you can say classes is your room type. Example, your bedroom or kitchen. You can have multiple bedrooms, right, in your house. So basically, using class, you can style multiple elements, which will be shared by multiple. Okay, class will be shared by multiple. So guys, with this real life analogy, I hope it was easy for you to understand. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Hello everyone and welcome back. So guys, in today's video we are going to cover three most important topics. That is, what are semantic tags, then we are going to see block versus inline elements, and then we are also going to see the basics of accessibility. So these are the topics that we are going to cover in today's video. We will be seeing what are semantic tags in HTML, why semantic tags are important and we should use them. Then we will see some common semantic tags. Then we will be seeing the difference between block versus inline elements, and then we will see accessibility basics. Okay, now you might be thinking that why are we discussing these topics? Okay, and let me tell you that today's video is going to be more of theoretical, and we won't be writing much code in today's video, because these are like theoretical concepts that you should know, and from interview points of view, these are very much asked questions. So it is very important that you should know these concepts, okay, if you are sitting for any HTML sort of interviews in future. Let's get started with the first topic, which is semantic tags. Okay, so what are semantic tags actually? So semantic tags are those tags in HTML which clearly describes their meaning to both the browser and to the developers. Developers means the us who are writing this code, and to the browser. Okay, so what are the examples of such semantic tags? So we have few examples as header, nav, main, section. Okay, so these are some of the examples for semantic tags. We will be seeing more semantic tags in a minute now, but why we should actually use them? What is their importance? So first thing is, they improve the readability of your code, because see, if you just use divs, paragraphs and all of this, then it does not make sense that which part is your header, which is your main content, which is your sidebar, right? So if you have to make it meaningful for the developers and for the browsers also, then you should use meaningful semantic tags, because with the header it clearly mentions that this header is going to be used for the top section, right? Then we have footer, which will be used for the bottom of the page. Then we have main content, which will tell that this is the main content of the page. Okay, and this will also help in SEO. Now what is SEO? SEO stands for search engine optimization. Basically it helps the web browsers to rank your website. So whenever you search anything over the Google, you get a lot of search results, right? So if the SEO of your website is good, then your site will basically rank higher, okay, and it will be reached to the more users. It also improves accessibility. Okay, now what is accessibility? So we will be seeing in more detail about accessibility in few minutes, but let me tell you that whenever we create a website, we create by keeping in mind that this will be used by different set of users. Okay, different set of users, what does it mean? That some users might have some physical disabilities, because of which they might not be able to read the website properly, which means they are blind. Okay, so in that case, what they do is they make use of screen readers. Now what are screen readers? The screen readers basically read everything that is written on your website. Okay, so when the screen reader reads your website, it will tell them clearly that this is a side section, this is a header, so they can understand, and they can understand in their mind that okay, how the site might be looking, because they cannot visualize it, right? So that is why it helps screen readers interpret better. Okay, now let's see first of all what are the different types of semantic elements that we have. So see, we have these many types of semantic elements, okay, like article, aside, details, fig caption. Now fig caption, what it is used for, like if there is a figure, right, and you have to write that what is it, what does the figure implies, so you can use fig caption in that case. Figure, so basically showcase a figure. Footer and header, I already told you. Then we have main, for the main content. So in this way we have a lot of semantic tags, okay, and here it is clearly written that in HTML there are several semantic tags that can be used to define different parts of a web page. So see, using semantic tags, it is how easy it is to understand the layout of a web page. So we have the header at the top, then we have any navigation links if you want. Now navigation links are like what? So see, these are like navigation links here that you can see: tutorials, exercises, certificates, services. Now it can be inside your header itself, or it can be on the side also. So, or it can be at both the places. So in this case, it is at both the places, in the header also and on the sidebar also. Then we have section, we have aside. This is kind of a aside, okay. And then we have article. So if you are writing a blog, so you can use article in that case. And then at the bottom we have footer, okay. So I hope now you have understood what are semantic tags, and if you want to understand what is the use of every semantic tag, here it is clearly mentioned, okay. Like article, it defines independent self-contained content. Aside, it defines content aside from the page content. So like this type of content is called as aside, okay. Details defines additional details that a user can view or hide. So you can read in this way, okay. Like you just have to search for HTML semantic tags and you can go to this website and then read more about it. But I hope now you have understood what is semantic tags. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is block versus inline elements. So let's understand what are block elements first. So few of the elements that we have will take full width of your parent, and it will start always on the new line. Okay, now example of such elements are your div, h1 to h6 tags, your paragraph tag, and your section tag. Okay, now if you write a paragraph inside a paragraph, you will notice that the paragraph will always start on a next line. Okay, same goes with h1 to h6, divs, and sections. Now what are inline elements? Inline elements only take as much width as needed, and they do not start on a new line. And examples of inline elements are your span tag, anchor tag, strong, emphasize. Okay, now let's go to the code editor and let's see. I have written this line basically. Okay, what does this line says is, I'm using a paragraph over here, okay, and it says this is a, and then I'm using a span tag, and in the span tag I'm writing red word and just making it red using CSS. That is fine. And then continuation of the paragraph. So when I will go to my web browser and I will see this, you can see this span tag, whatever the text that is written in span tag is not coming on the new line, right? The red word text, right? So this is only what is called as inline tag. Okay, so span is one such inline tag for us, whereas p or paragraph tag is a block, okay, block level tag. Now what I will do is I will just copy this line, okay, to make you understand better. I will copy this line, I will paste it here, and instead of span tag, let me use a p tag for this thing, okay, for red word, and let's see what is the difference it makes. I'm saving this and let's go to the browser and see. See, as soon as I used p tag instead of span tags, what happened is the text red word came on new line, which means it is taking the entire width of a line and it is also starting from a new line, right? So that is what we have learned, that what are block elements, they take full width of the parent, whereas inline elements, they take only as much width as needed. Okay, so how much width was needed, that much only they took it, and they did not start it on a new line. So now I hope you have understood block versus inline elements also. Now let's understand what is accessibility and what are the basics of it. I've already explained you accessibility basically. So we should make our websites accessible to all type of users, and how can we do so? So for example, when you are writing an image tag, right, you know there is an attribute called as alt. What does it do? Just in case if your image does not loads properly or if it breaks somehow, so then in that case that alt text will be showing on the website. Now what is the usage of it? So for example, if someone who is blind is like on your website, they are trying to read your content via some screen reader. So some screen reader or some AI kind of thing is reading your text on the website, and there is nothing. Okay, the image does not loads and there is an empty space. You have not added an alt attribute, so they do not know what was there in that place. Whereas in such cases where you have added an alt attribute and the image was not loaded, the text of the image will be read out to the end user, so they will understand, okay, that this image is related to this. Okay, there is an image here and this is the usage of it. And even if the image is loaded also, in that case also for them the alt whatever the text that is written in alt will be read out to them. So this is the importance of it. Okay, I hope you are understanding what you can do to have better accessibility. So you can use proper headings for in order, like from h1, h2, h3, which is where is your main heading. You can use h1 for that, for h2 for sub headings and all. Then you can use label for form inputs, right? We have used labels, so you should use that. Avoid only color based indicators for colorblind users. Use semantic tags for structure, right? We have just now understood what are semantic tags, so you should use semantic tags wherever possible, so for them it is easy. Now we have learned a lot of things. Let's now what I'm doing is I'm just commenting this code and I'm going to show you one code. Okay, so just see this code. Okay, I have written some basic content. What is happening here? I have written all this content using semantic tags. Okay, so if you notice, we have this body. Okay, actually I have the body 2 times, so let me remove this. Okay, this is not needed and this one is also not needed. Let's understand what this code is doing. Okay, this code is just basically kind of a blog website. You can understand is this way. First of all, this is I'm writing h1 inside a header. Okay, if required I would have just used div also instead of header. That would also be like totally fine and everything would be looking absolutely normal on the front end. But when you write it inside a header, it makes it more meaningful for the browser and for the developer also. Okay, that this part is the header which is coming on the top of the page, and then I'm writing nav. Okay, I'm using a nav element, and then whatever my links are there I'm putting inside that nav element. So this clearly showcases that all the links are here. Okay, to the developer also it is very clear, right? Now whatever is the main content of my website I'm putting inside my main tags, and then I'm using articles to show my text and headings and whatever my article related content is, readable content. Then I'm using footer, and inside that I'm showing my whatever the text that I want to show in my footer. Now we will also be talking about entities and this special symbol. You might be thinking what is that, in our upcoming video, but for now just understand that wherever possible try to use semantic tags and make sure that you understand what are semantic tags, because from interview point of view it is an important topic. See what are HTML entities and iframes. So let's first of all understand what we are going to cover in this video. So we are going to see what are HTML entities exactly, why and when we have to use them. Then we are going to see some common entities and symbols, and finally we are going to see how can we use iframes to embed content. So don't worry if you don't know anything as of now, you will be learning everything in this video. Let's start understanding what are HTML entities. So as a first step, I'll create a new file called as tute18.html, and then I'll add a boilerplate code. Okay, now what I will do is I will write here HTML entities. Okay, and I'll copy the same thing and paste it as a h1 in my body also, saving it and opening it with live server. So we can see our page on the screen. Now let's understand what are HTML entities, guys. See guys, like when you will write HTML code, you will encounter many such cases where you need to write special codes, okay, that will display reserved characters, symbols, or characters which are not easily typed from your keyboard. Now what are such characters? Let's see one by one. See, for example, in HTML, this angular brackets, okay, these are kind of reserved, right? Because we make use of them when we write tags, right? So now what if I have to write these in my this content itself? For example, I have to write this here, okay, which should be displayed on the screen. So when I save it and do it, it is now displaying absolutely fine. But in some cases it might give you an error. Okay, so and it might also create confusion also. Okay, that this angular bracket is for what. So instead of writing it like this, you also have another way. Like how can you write it? Ampersand LT. Okay, and when you will write this, what does this display is this bracket. Okay, angular less than bracket. And in the same way, if you have to write greater than bracket, so ampersand GT, saving it will show this type of bracket. Okay, so you understood, right? What we have done is we have written a symbol using entity. This is only called as entity. Okay, like these types of like characters which we use to display any symbol. Now in this way we have a lot of different ones. For example, if you want to write an like something like ampersand, right? So ampersand, how you will write this, and then you will write AMP, saving it, it will show this symbol ampersand. I hope you can see. Okay, so in this way there are a lot. And now you might ask one thing, that how can I remember all of this, right? Because it is not possible. There are a lot of symbols and a lot of codes for them, right? Now there is also one for copyright. You might have seen a copyright symbol, right, which has C and then a circle around it. How can we write that? So for that, the entity is ampersand copy, ampersand copy this one. Okay, saving it, it will show this copyright symbol. Okay, so now you might ask, like, how can we remember all of this, right? Because these are too many. So guys, you don't have to by heart anything. Okay, for example, whenever you encounter a usage, or for example, you are writing a code. Okay, now you have to write something like this, like you have to write the price of a particular item. Okay, so you have to write something like 500. But now we don't use this RS currency. We use that symbol that we have for rupees in Indian currency. So we don't want this RS to be there. Instead, we want that. So now this is a use case, right? Now how can you get that? So you just don't have to do anything. You have to go to the Google and you just have to search for rupee entity HTML. Okay, simply when you will search for it, it will give you the result that this is the entity. You just have to copy, bring it to your code, paste it, save it, and let's see if it is working fine or not. See, it is totally working fine. So everything is just one Google search away. You just have to search it then and there itself, and you will easily get it. And how can you know what different kinds of entities exists? So let's see. So HTML entities. Okay, and it will give me this W3 schools, and here you can go and read it. Okay, like just for reading purpose, you don't have to by heart anything. See, I already told you less than, greater than, ampersand, right? In the same way we have a lot like double quotation mark, single quotation mark, and we have for different types of currencies, cent, pound, yen, euro, copyright, registered trademark. Apart from these also there are many. So just in case if you want to see any of them, you can just do a Google search and you will easily get it. Okay, and see, entities also can be represented via different types. Okay, like we have name also and number also. For example, let me copy this. Okay, let me do for this one. Okay, so for example, if I write this, let's see what it shows on the screen. See, it is both showing the same thing. So one HTML entity can be represented using name also. And here what name represents? LT stands for less than, GT stands for greater than, AMP stands for ampersand. Whereas just in case if you want to show a space, like for example, if I'm writing this text, okay, HTML entities, and if I'm adding a lot of space here and saving it, when I will see on the screen, only one space is showing. Okay, not that much of space which I wanted. So how can you add that kind of space? So you can just copy this NBSP. Now what is NBSP? NBSP stands for non-breaking space. So if I add this NBSP, now you will notice that many spaces will be showcasing. See, so in this way, like just in case if you want to give some extra spacing, so you can use NBSP also. So I hope now you have clearly understood what are HTML entities and what is the need for them. Let's now move on to the next topic of ours, which is using iframes to embed content. Okay, we have completed entities discussion till now, and we have also seen some common types of entities and symbols. Now let's see what are iframes and how can you use them. So see guys, like now when you will create some a website or web page, you might come across this scenario that you have to show something like a YouTube video or a map on your web page. So in that case, you can't write the entire code by yourself, right, from scratch to show a YouTube video or map particularly. So you can even embed the codes in your HTML. How can we do that? For example, let's understand that. First, let me add a H1 and let me say a YouTube video, and saving this file, let me go to my browser, and here it shows me this text, okay, YouTube video. I want that below this, I want to show one YouTube video which the user can play here itself on my website only, okay. I don't want them to redirect and all. I just want them to be just playing it here. So what I can do is I will just open one of the videos, okay, one of the YouTube videos. I will just click on share. Let's see, okay, how can we do this? I will click on share button, and here when you will click on share, you will see this embed option, okay, the first one itself. So see, it gives you some code. What you need to do is you just need to click on this copy, and this entire code is copied, okay. Now what you will do is you will go here and then paste this code, save it. Nothing you have to do, just save it. And let's now go to our web page and just see, we have got this entire HTML video on our web page. Now when I click on here, it will start playing also, right, in our website only. So this is very important, right, because it is a major use case when you will come which you will come across when you will create site. Now using CSS, you can, you know, make it proper, like, you know, you can increase the width, height and all for it, okay. That is totally fine. See, even here itself you can do it. So instead, like for now, if you are feeling that the width is too much, you want to reduce it. So instead of 560, if you do 360 and save it, you can see now it is like, you know, the width is small. I also want the height to be small, so I'll do it 215. So see, now the height is also small. So this way you can, you know, adjust the CSS using CSS also, and using some attributes that we get in the embed also. Now we have seen iframe for YouTube video. Now in the same way, we have iframes for Google Maps also. So how can you do that? For example, if you want to embed a Google Map, you just have to go do nothing. You have to just search for Google Map. You have to show a particular location, okay, on maps in your web page. What you will do, you will click on Google Maps. You will go to that particular location. For example, let's select any particular location. This one I will select, okay, and I want to show this location on my Google Map. So what I will do, I will click on share button again here, and here you will see this option, embed a map. When you will click on it, you will get this HTML for embedding, and just you have to click on copy HTML again here, and then you have to go to your code editor, paste that code. Now let's see. So see, now I'm getting this one, okay. I just want it to be on the next line, so I will just add a line break so that it displays properly, okay. See, now it will show one below the other, okay. And again, we can adjust the height and width in the same way. So if I want, it is for me like it is too big as of now, so I will make it 300, and height also as 250 or something. So you can see now the map is showing, and you can even, you know, see the map here itself, or you can, you know, click on view larger map and go to the Google Maps and see. So in this way, you can use iframes to embed the different types of content on your website. So guys, I hope now you have got the clear understanding of what are HTML entities and iframes. And as I said, you don't have to remember anything or by heart anything, neither HTML entities nor iframes code. You will get everything. You can just copy it from the internet and use it in your HTML code. Hello everyone, welcome back. So guys, in today's video, we are going to cover two important topics of HTML, that is meta tags and medias. So let's see first of all what we are going to cover in today's video, then we will be moving on to one by one topic. First of all, we are going to cover what are meta tags in HTML, then we will be seeing common types of meta tags that we have with some examples I will be showcasing you, and then we will be seeing how can we add audio to a web page and how can we add a video to a web page. Let us understand what are meta tags, okay. Now meta tags are special HTML tags that provides metadata about a web page. Now what is this word metadata? Metadata is data about data, okay. Basically some extra information that the browsers and search engines can use. It will go inside your head section of your, like, you know, head tag basically. Let's move to the code editor and let me explain you in much detail. So as a first step, I'll create qt19.html, and then here I will write the boilerplate code. And you can see when we write the boilerplate code, we already get two meta tags, right? So in this way, there are multiple meta tags that we can use. So as of now, I'm removing these and I'm adding some more meta tags, okay, that we are going to discuss in this video. Basically, what is the usage of it? Let's understand this first. Basically, if you will see, I'll first of all add one h1 tag, okay. So it will just say meta tag, something like this, and I will display this on this, like, you know, open this with line server. So you will notice that as such, these meta tags are not displaying anywhere on the screen, okay. This is not at all for, you know, showcasing some content over the screen. I will inspect the page, and in the inspect tool, you will see that See, I am inspecting the tool, and in the head section you can see this meta text though. Okay, so these are displaying in the inspect tool, but on your page it does not have any impact. Okay, so this is the first thing. Now what are these actually used for? So basically when you make a Google search, right, whenever you are searching something, so your site will result into search engine optimization, and the results will be showcasing in that your site will show or not. Okay, there are many factors based on which your site will show, and if it will show, then what will be the data that it will show. So all of that, for that purpose meta tags are helpful for. Now let's see one by one that every meta tag has different attributes, okay, and what is the usage of each. Okay, so first one, if you see here, it says CAD set UTF-8. Okay, now what is this CAD set? So see, CAD set is basically for encoding. Like for example, it specifies the character encoding for the web page. It tells browser that how to read the text so that the letters, symbols and special characters display correctly on your website. Okay, example is UTF-8 is one type of character encoding, and UTF-8 can display almost all characters from different languages. Next one that we have is this viewport. Okay, now viewport is basically helpful in it controls how the page is displayed on different devices, especially mobile devices. It makes the website adapt to smaller screens, so users don't have to zoom in or scroll horizontally when they are opening your web page. Next one that we have is description. Okay, so what is the usage of this description? So for example, a short summary of the page is about what the page is about. For example, I'll search for React docs, okay, or anything like HTML docs. So you can see this type of text that is coming, right? So this is basically the description that you put in, okay, using meta text. And next is your keywords. Keywords is basically you can add these types of keywords, like your web page is about what, like, so for example, if you are writing some content about HTML, web and tutorial, so you can write these types of keywords. So a list of words or phrases that describes the content of the page. It is used to help search engines understand the topics. However, this tag is no longer important for SEO today, as the search engines rely more on the actual page content, which means the content that you are writing, right? For example, in this H1 or any paragraphs that you are writing, in that whatever the content it is there, based on that it will automatically pick up the tags. Okay, these days it is like more dependent on that. Then next is your author. So it basically specifies the name of the person or the organization who has created the page. It is useful for identifying the content creator, especially for articles, blogs or company pages. So I hope now you have understood what are meta tags. Basically this is just a simple concept that you should know about, and it is just you can say that one of the concepts that are asked in interviews, but from your website creation point of view, it is not much like you don't have to worry much about it. Okay, sir. So guys, now we have understood what are meta tags. Let's move on to the next thing, which is adding video to a web page and adding audio to a web page. Okay, we have also seen common different types of meta tags. Now let's move on to the media part. So first step is, what I will be doing is I will be adding audio to my web page. Okay, so currently our web page looks something like this. I want that one audio should be displayed on my web page, and I can able to play that audio. So what I will do is, I have already taken the media in one of the folders and I will add it on my web page. How will I do that? First of all, let me show you that. Okay, so in order to add a media, what I will do is I will drag and drop. You can also do it something like this. Okay, so I have taken these three medias, okay, and I will drag and drop into my project folder like this. Okay, so I have this audio.mp3, and then I have taken one video.mp3, and then one thumbnail also I have taken, thumbnail.jpg. So as a first step, we are adding an audio. So we have the tag called as audio. Okay, we can use this tag, and then instead of writing the source over here, we can remove this one, and then what I can do is I can write a source tag only. Okay, the source tag will have an source tag is basically a self-closing tag in this way, and then we can provide the source. Okay, so what is the source in our case? It is audio.mp3. okay, the file which I have just now imported, and we can also mention the type of this file, which is like audio and slash the extension, which is mp3 in our case. Okay, now I will also provide one line which will be helpful just in case if the browser does not supports this tag. Okay, so your browser does not support the audio tag. Okay, something like this we should write. It is a good practice. So just in case if there is a very old browser or something which does not supports it, it will show this line. Now let's see by going to the browser. You might see that there is no difference which is there, right? Our audio is not at all showing or something. Why so? Because there is an important attribute called as controls. Okay, you need to add this attribute and then only you can see, because see, you have added the audio and it was added also, but in order to see these controls like play, pause, and mute, unmute and all, you need to have that thing. Okay, now when you see, the audio will play. Okay, so yeah, it is working totally fine, and you will also get different options of download, playback speed and all. Okay, so in this way you can add audios in HTML. Now let's move on to the next one, which is video. So in order to add a video, again we have this attribute which is video, sorry, not attribute but element, video. In this way you can add it. Then we will have the source is again going to be self-closing, and you can add the same kind of line first of all. Okay, so the basic things are almost same. Okay, in this case also, so your browser does not support video tag. Here I will update it to video tag. Okay, now in the source we will need to have the source. Okay, basically the source of the video. So in this case the video source is video.mp4. okay, and type of this will be video/mp4. okay, not 34. Then we need to have some controls in this one also, so I'll add controls. So at this point of time, let me show you how it is displaying. See, my video is showing. Okay, so this is one of like our previous lecture video that I have taken, but you can see it is too, like the length is also too much and the width is also too much. So in order to adjust length and width, what I will do is I will take the attributes width and I will give some basic width like 640 and height like around 360 or something, and then saving it. So you can see now it is proper. Okay, let me also give a line break so that it comes on the next line. Okay, so now you can see it is coming on the next line. Now there are different other attributes, okay, in this video also. For example, if you want that a thumbnail should be added, okay, to this video, so you can use this poster attribute and then you can mention the thumbnail that we have just imported in our project. So in this way, see, instead of directly showing the video, it is just showing the thumbnail. When I start playing it, it will start playing. Okay, so in this way you can add audios and videos to your web page. I hope now you have understood what are meta tags, what are the different types of tags, what is their usage, and how can we add audio and video to a web page. Mostly this is not used very commonly. Okay, these types of things like meta tags and all most of the times it is almost handled by the the package that we install or something. But you should know that in HTML how can you add meta tags and medias. Hi guys, welcome back. So I hope you all are doing absolutely well. Guys, in today's video we are going to create a project on HTML. Basically we are going to create a resume or portfolio website which will be purely in HTML. I am not going to use any single line of CSS also in this actual video, okay, because I just want that whatever we have learned so far, that only we have to implement. So if you see, what we are going to build today is something like this, which will have a complete details of our profile. It will have like our name, our role basically, and it will also have a navigation basically. Okay, so when you click on a particular section, it will take you to that particular section of the profile. So without wasting any time, let's get started. And first of all, as a first step, I'll create this file called as tut20.html. okay, and then I will add a boilerplate code. Okay, now guys, make sure that you add proper comments everywhere wherever required. Okay, it is very good practice. Okay, so first of all, we will say the humble coder. Okay, the title I'm updating it to the humble coder and resume, saving it. And see, these two meta tags we already have. Okay, so we can say that this is what basic meta, and I have already explained you in the meta video that what are these useful for. So basically UTF-8 is for character encoding, and the other one is for so that your device is like your web page is compatible to mobile device as well. Okay, now in this way I will be keep on adding my meta tags, okay, and comments also wherever required. See, this was the basic meta that we got with the boilerplate. Now I will write two more metas. Okay, I will say that these are helpful metas, but these are optional. Okay, these are optional but good to have. Okay, if you add them, it is good for your website. Okay, optional but good practice. Okay, let's see what are those metas. First of all, I will use the tag meta, and then in the name I will add the description. Okay, so I have added this meta description, which says simple HTML only resume built with semantic tags. Now let me add one more meta. So I have added one more meta which says the author name, and the author name I have added the humble coder. Okay, you can add your author name. So title we have already added. Now let's move on to the body part, and as a first step we are going to create the header for our website. Okay, so I'm going to create the header, and first of all let me give a comment header. Okay, and then I'm going to use a header tag, because if you know, this is a semantic tag. Okay, and what the first thing is going to say is our name. Again I'm going to write the humble coder. You can write your name. Let's save and see so far how our website is looking. So I'm going to open with live server. So you can see we have got this much so far, because meta text does not display anything. We have got the title as the humble coder resume and the h1 which says our name. Okay, now as a next step what I need to add is one paragraph which will just say our text tag. So I'm just going to write Frontend developer. Okay, so we have got this paragraph also. Now let's add address details. Okay, so in order to add address details, first of all I'm going to write address details, and I'm just going to comment this so it makes it more meaningful that these are the address details. Now for address details we are going to use this address address tag. Okay, now we have this address tag. Now as such it does not has any impact, but as I told you, there are some semantic tags. If you use them on the website, it is well and good. Okay, now in the address tags we will have some, like, you know, anchor tags. Basically first of all I'll add two anchor tags, and the first anchor tag basically is going to have your email ID. Okay, so I'm going to write abc@gmail.com or something like that, and I'm going to copy this email ID, and in the href section what I'm going to do is I'm going to write mail to and then the email ID. Okay, and what basically this part will do is mail to. When we click on this email ID, okay, let me show you. When we click on this, it will open the email box. Okay, it will directly, you know, prompt us to open any email service. Next that we are going to add is our telephone number. So you can add something like this. If you are from India, so you can add like something like this: 1 2 3 4 5 and then 6 7 8 9. Okay, and then again here also I'm going to do the same thing, so that it, when we click on it, automatically if you are opening the site in mobile, it opens the dialer. See, we have got this one also. Okay, let's see so far how it is looking. Now see guys, it is sticking. Okay, so I want this type of dot to be there in between. Okay, so if you notice on this website that we have a dot over here, how can we add that dot? Okay, to add that dot we are going to have ampersand MIDDOT. See, this will give us a dot. Okay, and I'm going to have the same dot here also. Okay, so this is what, this is an HTML entity. We have already seen this while we were learning this concept. Okay, now I'm going to have a span tag where I will just have the city and the country name. So for example I can write Mumbai and then India. Okay, something like this. When I save it, my address locations also get displayed. Again I want a dot. Okay, I want a dot over here, so I have added the dot. Now I will add two more anchor tags. Okay, and then our address section will be completed. So now in this first one I'm going to add like I'm going to link I'm going to provide the link to my LinkedIn profile. Okay, LinkedIn, and then the next one what I want is I want my GitHub profile link. Okay, so how are we going to provide the links now? Simple. First of all I'm going to go to my GitHub profile. I'm going to copy my link and then paste it over here. Okay, and guys, I would highly recommend you, if you don't have a link like, you know, if you don't have a GitHub profile, please make one. It will be very helpful for you. Okay, then I'm going to provide one LinkedIn URL as well. In the LinkedIn for now I'm just providing the GitHub only. You can provide your LinkedIn profile as well. Okay, now here in the attribute section I'm going to provide the target as blank. Okay, because what I want is these links should be open in a new tab. Okay, and not in the existing one. So I have provided target as blank. So far we are doing good, and let's see how's the thing looking. See, I want one more dot in this, in between this LinkedIn and GitHub. So I'm going to copy this semantic tag, not semantic tag but HTML entity, and I'm going to paste it. We have got this dot over here also, and saving it. Yeah, now there is proper spacing and everything is proper. Now let's move on to the next section, which is going to be for our profile. Okay, profile picture and all. So still we are in the headers. Okay, so I'm not going out of header. I'm going to write profile photo. Okay, and I'm going to comment this line so it makes sense that I'm now working on the profile photo section. I'm going to add an image first of all, and the source is going to be profile.jpg. I've already imported one image. Okay, this cartoon image I have taken here. I'm going to add this as my profile photo for now, and then I'm just going to say profile picture. Okay, alt tag. We have understood the impact of alt tag and all. So make sure that you provide proper alt tags whenever you are adding any image. Now the profile picture looks a bit larger, so I'm going to write the width and height of the image. Okay, so for now I'm going to write the width and height as 140, and maybe the width to be a little less, so 100. Let's see. Yeah, so far it is looking good. Okay, and now what, I'm going to add a fake caption. Okay, it is not mandatory, but to just make you understand that there is some tag called as fake caption which exists. Okay, and basically this will just say profile picture. Okay, so see, this type of text will be displayed below my image. Okay, so guys, we have now completed our profiles, like the header section. The profile picture is also done. Okay, and guys, to make it more meaningful, we should put this profile image and the fake caption inside a tag called as figure. Okay, we have a figure tag. Okay, let me format the document so far so that it looks proper. Now, so since our first section is completed, I will put a horizontal row in between after this section. Horizontal rule, basically it will just add this line. Okay, this means that our first section is done, which was our header. Now we are moving on to the next section, which is going to be our navigation area. Okay, so I'm just going to write navigation bar. Okay, so as of now our navigation bar is going to look very basic. Okay, because we are not going to add any CSS, but it is equally important because we will learn many important concepts while creating this navigation bar. Okay, so how am I going to create the nav bar? For that I have a tag called as nav, and then here I'm going to have like few anchor tags. Basically I would say 7 anchor tags. So I can do something like this, a into 7, which will give me 7 anchor tags. Okay, okay, so the first anchor tag I want to write summary. Basically these are going to be different sections on our website. Okay, so that is what we are doing right now. Skills, then we have experience, then next one we are going to have projects, education, certifications, and extra, and then extra. Now what I want is, whenever I click on any particular anchor from the navigation bar, it should take me to that particular section, right? So what I will do is I will provide this hrefs in this way. Okay, like hash and then the section. And what I will do is, while I will be defining the sections, I will give the ID as similar to these ones. Okay, you will understand this all in a minute now when we will create the first section. First of all, let me add these things. Okay, so we have added all the navigations. Okay, let's see how our website is looking as of now. See, you can see we have all these things, but if you see in the actual one, I had these kinds of vertical lines in between. So how can we get that? We have this thing on our keyboard only. So let me add that. Okay, see, now our navigation bar is also ready. Okay, and in the end I don't want it, so I'll remove it. Okay, so now let's move forward and create the next section, which is going to be the summary. Okay, so this is not like totally a new section basically, so I will not add a horizontal rule after this. Basically I will start with my next section, which was going to be my main section. So I'm going to use the tag called as main, and then inside this I'm going to write my summary, basically profile summary. Okay, so summary, and for profiles this is the comment basically that I want to give. And for profile summary, what I will do is, first of all I'll give a heading which says profile summary. Okay, and then I need to add a paragraph which will have the details about my profile summary. Let's see so far how it is looking. So we have got this text profile summary, and now let me add my profile summary text. So I have added this profile summary text, and now it is looking something like this. Okay, now let's move on forward, and I want to add a horizontal rule right now. Okay, so I'll add just simply hr, saving it. It will give a line in this way. Now we are moving on to the next section, which is our skills section. Okay, and we will do everything now inside the main tag only, because main tag basically mentions that we are working in a particular, like this is the main content of our website. Okay, and to make it more better, what we can do is we can add sections tag. Okay, these are also semantic tags so that it displays that this is one section. Okay, so I'll put everything over here and I'll just format the document. Okay, so that it will be easy, I don't have to take care of the indentation. See, this is one section, and in the same way I'm going to create another section now. Okay, so what will this now next section is going to be? Let's see. We have already written the profile summary. Now the next section is going to be about skills. Okay, so for this I'm going to write first of all skills, and I'm going to write a comment over here. This showcases that this is our skills section, and this is going to be a list basically. Okay, an unordered list. Let me create a section, and then here now the important thing is that you see we have already created first section, right? So let me add an ID of summary over here. Okay, so what this will do, let me show you. See, when I click on summary, it is like, see, the URL is updated to summary. Okay, since we don't have too much of content as of now, so nothing is like moving on the website, but you will notice that when we add few more sections, it will take us to that particular section. Okay, so let's now create this section which is skills. So let me add the ID as skills. Okay, now here what we are going to do is we are going to have first of all a heading which is h2, and this will be skills. Now the next thing that we are going to have is we will be having two types of skills. Okay, one is core skills and the other is tools. So for that I'm going to have one more heading, and this heading is going to be a slightly smaller. Okay, so that is why I'm going to have h3 instead of h2. I'm going to have h3 because for h2 I have using h2 I have already taken the main heading. Now in the core I have written it using h3. Okay, so you can see it is a bit smaller. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create unordered list. Okay, and it is going to have 3 list items. Okay, so li into 3 I will be doing. See, we got 3 list items, and in this 3 list items I am going to mention all my skills. So guys, I have added all the skills. Okay, you can add the skills according to your like skill set or whatever you know. So let's see on the screen, we have got the core skills in this way. Okay, now in the same way I'm going to create one more h3 which will say tools. Okay, whatever the tools that I know, and again I'm going to create three L3s, 3 LIs which will have basically the 3 tools that I want to add. Okay, like Git and GitHub, Chrome Dev Tools, and VS Code. Let me add that. So guys, I have added all the 3 tools also. Let's see how is our website looking so far. See, we have got the core skill sets and the tools that we know. Okay, and now I have also added this HR, because of which it is showing at the bottom there is one line is showing, right? Now let's move on, and we have completed this one more section which was the skills one, and now we are going to move on to the next section. First, basically I'm going to remove this HR from here and move it under this section itself. Okay, and now I'm going to create a new section which will be for the experience, just in case if you have some experience you can mention it under this section. So again I'm going to create a section tag, and then inside this first of all I will be giving the ID which will be experience. Okay, and then in as a h2 I will write the text as experience, saving it, and let's see how is it looking. See, it is looking like this. Now when I click on experience, just notice that it is scrolling to this experience section, right? So that was the usage of these things that we have done over here, that is these hashtags and the text that we have given. Basically it is doing the navigation for us. Okay, when we give the ID in this way, it will basically tell that when I click on this, take me to this particular section. Now in the experience section, what we are going to do is we are going to write about our experience. So I'm going to use the article tag for this purpose. Okay, you can use also or not, it is fine, but since article is a semantic tag, so that is why I'm using this. Now in the h3 I'm going to write the role, basically like front-end developer. Okay, and you can write your company name. Okay, like ABC company, saving it and see we are getting it in this way. Okay, now what is the next thing? The next thing that you can do is you can add a paragraph. Okay, which will have the time. Okay, like from which time, and you can also mention something like the details in this way. Okay, like in a list format. So we are going to have these two things first of all. Okay, basically the whatever the work that you have done in that company, and then from what time to what time you have worked in that country. So let's do this first of all. So guys, see, I have written the content. Basically it's just a static content. Let me show you how it is looking. See, I have added this date and the 3 lines of text using list. Let me show you how I have done this. For displaying the time, I have used this format. Okay, and after that there is this dash, right? To display this dash I have uses this thing. Okay, now after that, again to show some time and city and country things, I have like written in this way. After that I have created a unordered list, and in that I have created 3 list items which showcases my whatever the task that I have done at that company. Okay, so this was the detail about the first company, and just in case if you have worked for 2 companies, you can create the 2 similar sections like this. Okay, so for now I'm just copy pasting it. If I will highly recommend you that in your case don't do the copy paste, just write everything by yourself. Okay, because it will give you a good practice. Okay, so yeah, we have created 2 sections now, like two details for 2 companies now, and now we will be moving on to the next section. Now before we move on to the next section, let me add a horizontal rule which displays that this section of ours is completed, which was experience section. Right, now what we are going to do is we are going to create next section which will be related to the project details. See, so far we have completed what all, let's see that. Let's go to the navigation bar. See, so far we have written summary, then skills, then experience. Now we are on the projects part. Okay, after projects we have 3 more sections like education, certifications, and extra. So now I am at this place, and what I want is I will first of all write some basic comment which will say projects. Okay, and then after this I am going to create one section as we always do, and in the section I am going to give the ID so that when I click on the link from the navigation, it will redirect me to this place. Okay, so projects, and then I will add my project details, again H2 which will say projects. So now you might feel that everything is very repetitive, right? Because we have already done it for the previous sections. So once you write code, you will get habitual to it, right? So now in this also we will create multiple list items. Okay, so let me create the first list items and let me save and show you what we are trying to build. See, projects, first we have already got the number, and we are trying to create something like this. Okay, like portfolio website, and then whatever the description of the website is, and then the link of the website. Okay, in the similar way, some second product, whatever you have created, project that you have created, you can mention that. So let's write this code. So see guys, I have written all the text basically which was needed. First of all, I have added a H2 text which says projects, then I have created an ordered list. In that I have few list items. First one has this basically strong text which says portfolio website. Okay, this text basically, because I wanted it to be bold, so I have used it inside my strong tags. Okay, then whatever the text that I want to show, like the description about it, what this website is about, I have written that. Okay, then I have given a line break so that whatever I add comes on the next line. I also want that whoever is visiting my profile, they can see this. Okay, like they can visit my portfolio website. Okay, so for that I have taken this anchor tag, and then I have given my link to the website. Now, and then for that I have written this text view project thing. Okay, so when someone click on it, and if you have given the actual link of your website, it will take them to that website. In the same way, I have added for the second project also I have created some dummy text. Okay, like product page, and this is a simple e-commerce detail page with images and specifications and the link of that project. Okay, so in this way I have added it. Okay, now so far we have created the project section also. Now let's move on, and let's first of all check, okay, that when we click on the projects, is it taking us to the projects or not. So see guys, it is not redirecting me to the project. So let's see what is the problem over here. So in the ID, have we given the ID over here? Yes, we have given the ID, but the P is small, so that is why it is not working properly. Let's now see, when I click on projects, see, now it is taking me to the project section. So everything is working absolutely fine. Let's see what is the next section that we are going to build. We are now going to build the education section. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write education over here, and I'm going to comment it. This shows that I'm now working on the education section. Now for education section, again we are going to do the same thing. I'm going to write the section tag first of all, and then inside that I'm going to have the ID, okay, which will say education. Saving it. Now what we need, okay, first of all we need a H2 which will say education. Saving it. Okay, so you can see we have got this education text. Now in the education, how are we going to display the educational details is using a table. Okay, so for that I'm going to create a table with border 1. Let's create this table with border 1. Okay, and now inside this I'm going to have like details. First of all, I'm going to have a table row. Okay, and this table row will have 3 table headings. Okay, th into 3 I will be doing. So now what are the 3 details that it will have is, first of all, degree, and then my institution name, and then the third thing that is going to have is year. Okay, saving it and seeing. See, I've got this table already in place. Now this is the heading part. Now I'm going to add my like the content of the table. Okay, so for that also I'm going to create one more row, so tr, and inside this also I need 3 table data. Okay, so td into 3. So now what is the table data? First of all, it will say what is the degree that I have done. So BTech in CSE I can write. Okay, next thing what it is going to say is the institution, so I can write XYZ university or college, whatever. Okay, and in the third thing what I want to mention is the year, so I can mention like my year, like 2025. I have graduated from this one, from 2025, something like that. So in this way the details got populated. Now I want one more row. Okay, maybe to mention my schooling details. Okay, so for that I'm going to do td into 3 again, which will have, so with that we will have 3 table datas. Okay, and first thing again, class. Okay, so this is the details about my class 12, and I can write my school name like ABC school, and then we can have the year from which in which we have passed our school. Okay, so like maybe 2021 or whatever. So in this way you can have your details. Now if you want, you can add your class 10 details also in the same way in the next row. Okay, so guys, we have already created the educational section also. Now to wrap this up, I am going to write a horizontal rule. Okay, so HR, saving this. So you can see a horizontal, okay, horizontal rule, it has not came as a tag. So now you can see we have got this line also. Let's see if the link is working fine. Education, when I click on it, yes, I'm getting redirected to that. Okay, so after creating every section, make sure you check the navigation link that it is working fine or not. Now let's move on to the next section, which is our certification section. Okay, so to create the certification section, I'm going to write certification first of all, and I'm going to comment this line. This showcases that we are now moving on to the next section, which is certification. I'm going to create the section, and then I'm going to give the ID which says certification. Okay, and let me see if the C is capital in the navbar or not. Accordingly we have to give the same name. See, the C is small, so I'm going to keep the same name, because see, the name should match, otherwise your link, the redirection will not work properly. Okay, now in the certification section we can have an unordered list. Okay, and which is going to have like, okay, first of all we need a h2 which will say certifications, and then we are going to have an unordered list which is going to have 2 list items. Okay, first is basically like, you know, whatever the certification that you have done. So let me add that certification details now. See guys, now I have written the text for the certifications. Like first one is responsive web design, and in order to give some dash in between, I have used this thing. Okay, ampersand m dash, and then the from where I have done this certification, like for free code camp I have done. And then I have done one more certification which is JavaScript basics. So I have again written the platform, some platform I have done from that, so I have given that. Okay, so in this way we have done our certification section also, and this is how it is looking. Okay, now let's move on to the next section, which is going to be our extra section. Okay, in extra section we are basically going to mention our hobbies and languages that we know. Okay, and okay, so basically before we move forward, let me add a horizontal rule so that one line comes after this, and then we are going to work on now extra section. Okay, so this I'm going to comment this one, and here I'm going to write the h2 which will say extra. And now after h2 there is one more heading that I want, which is for hobbies. Okay, so that is why I'm using s3. Now I'm going to mention the hobbies that I have, like in a paragraph format only, and after this so basically I'm going to have a paragraph over here for my hobbies, and then I will have one more h3 which will have my languages that I know. Okay, and languages I'm going to basically mention it as a list. Okay, like English, Hindi and all. Okay, so I'm going to have a ul and then li's into that, which will say like English, and then one more li which will say Hindi. Saving it and looking so far. So this is our website, and see, languages section is ready, and in the hobby section let me add some text. Okay, see guys, our extra section is also ready. I have added this hobby text, and then I have added the like basic text. Okay, like reading tech blogs, and then in that in between I have written badminton, sketching, love learning new tools. Okay, and then I have to give one like this symbol, so I have added this ampersand. Okay, in this way. And languages we have already created. Now this time I forgot to create the section, so let me cut this all and put a section tag, and then I will put everything inside a section tag. Okay, and this should be extra. Now here I will give the ID as extra. Okay, so that when I will click on extra, just notice that it should redirect me to the extra section. Okay, so we have also created the extra section. What is the next thing now? Now the next and the last one is the quick fact, or you can say the footer basically. So for that, what I'm going to do is now I'm now going to create basically, first of all, I'm going to provide a comment which says footer, basically something like that. So for that, not footer, basically this is not footer. Okay, footer is only this thing. Okay, let me show you. Footer is only the last thing, which is this copyright 2025 your name, all rights reserved. Okay, this is another section only you can consider about quick facts. Okay, and this is the optional section. So I have added this section so that it is a homework for you guys. Okay, I'm not adding this in the code right now, but when you are coding it, you have to create it, because see, so far we have created a lot of sections and all, so now it is very repetitive. So I hope that you can create one section by yourself. So now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one footer by myself. Okay, so footer, okay, now see, the main content of the website is now ready. So I'm now going to move out to my main tag, and I'm going to write the comment footer, and I'm now going to write footer. So for footer also we have a tag, okay, footer. So I'm going to use that, and here I'm going to write my whatever the text that I have. So basically I want to write everything inside a paragraph, so I'm using this one, and I want a copyright symbol. So for that I'm going to use the entity ampersand copy. Okay, see, copy, let's save and see. See, we have got this copyright symbol, and then after this what I want is I want to show some time. Okay, so for that I'm going to use this time tag, and then date and time as 2025 I want to show, and here in this one the text should be 2025. After this I want to show like the name, my name, basically the humble coder, and then I want to show that all rights is out. Basically, you know, if you visit websites you will see this types of text. Saving it, so you can see we got this text, and with this we have completed our portfolio website. So see guys, it was not that tough also, it was easy basically once you have practiced, and while creating this website we have taken care of everything that is what we have learned so far in this series. So I hope that you have found this helpful, and if you do, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And guys, I will be leaving the code whatever we have written in this video in the description box of this video. Make sure to access it from there. Thanks for watching the video. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to host our project that we have created. Okay, so guys, in our last video we have created this website. Okay, and now is the time that we are going to host this project. Basically, till now this project or web page resides in our system only, and we need to, like, you know, in order to share it with someone we need to host it somewhere, right? So that we can directly share the link with that other person and they can access this using the link. Okay, so how can we do that? So in this video we are going to understand that only, and we are going to make use of GitHub in order to host our website. Now guys, what we will do is I will be teaching you from scratch, okay, like how can you create a repository, but as a first step you will need a GitHub account. So if you are new and if you haven't created a GitHub account yet, I would highly recommend you to create an account, okay, and then once you create the account you can see this type of home page, and then here you will find a new button. When you will click on the new button, basically it will tell you to name create a repository. So I am going to name it as HTML portfolio, okay, something like this. Okay, so now I will just click on create the repository. So this is the first step we need to do. Okay, now we have different steps. Okay, what we can do is if we have the file, we can drag and drop, okay, here. The other option is we can create, okay, using this thing. See, get started by creating a new file. We already have written the code in the last video. Okay, the main thing is that you have to name your file using index.html. With this only it will get to know this is your root file, okay, and then it will work properly. So I have created the file called as index.html over there, and then I'm just copying this code and then pasting it over here. Okay, the other way you can do is you can create an index.html in your computer and then drag and drop also, it will work fine. So now I will commit the changes. Okay, I will click on commit changes. One more thing that I have to do, because if you notice that in our project we were using the image, right, in our website, so this image also we need to upload. So for that what I will do is I will again go to this portfolio and I will click on add file and upload file. In this way I will get the option to see drag the files here to add them to a repository. So what I will do, I will go to my this folder and then I will take this profile.jpg and drag it over here. Once this is done, I will commit these changes, so the changes will be saved. Now we have two files, one is index.html and one is profile.jpg, which is getting used in index.html. Now what we have done is we have pushed all the code to GitHub. Now is the time to set up our hosting. For that, what I will do is I will click on the settings. Okay, this is the settings for my repository. Now here in this section, I will see the option for pages. Okay, notice this option pages. I will click on this one, and then here in the branch section, currently it is set as none. I want to select it to main branch. As soon as I select main branch, it will select root. Okay, root means that it will automatically take whatever the code is there in my index.html. When I click save, it will take 1 or 2 minutes to deploy. Okay, see guys, after 1 or 2 minutes, your site will be live at this particular URL you will be getting. When I click on this, it will take me to the website, and now you see this is not the local URL that we had in our system. This is a shareable URL. You can share this with anyone and your site is now live. Okay, let me show you one more thing. So just in case, if you are not able to find out this link from where you can find, you can even click on this code tab, and here also in the deployment section under GitHub pages, when you will click, you can see that URL. Okay, so from here also you can access it. But I hope now you have understood how you can deploy your website to GitHub. Okay, and then you can host it also, and then share the link with your friends or anyone whom you want to share it. So guys, great job on completing this complete HTML full course. If you found this helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss the next lessons. We have got a lot more exciting topics ahead, so stay tuned and let's keep building the web together.